really funny. Let's see.
1, 2, 1, 2, 2.
Yeah, I could probably turn up a little bit here, huh? How about now? How about now? Is that better? You
Think
like
so.
that?
Yeah, it's like you're here.
You like
The
that?
same as Rob now. Yeah.
It's like I'm here now.
All right, yeah, you're here.
Sweet.
Starting recording.
I feel like I'm here. I feel like I'm here.
Why does this keep happening? Just
So excited.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Heard you guys are having a lot of fun these past couple days.
Oh yeah,
True
lot
story.
of fun without you, Jake.
We'll get ready to kick it up a notch.
So ready.
Here we go.
It's been awesome. Yeah. Sweet. Paul, A Time of Shadows says, yeah, it's been awesome. Sweet.
Wait.
And Kevin says, hey all, thanks once again for putting this together. Nice.
Pleasure. I say that like I've had anything to do with this. It's my pleasure, guys. You're welcome.
No problem.
Gathered the people.
Yeah.
You
Right.
gathered the people, Rob.
Oh, you gave feedback yesterday?
Yeah, it was fun. We had
did.
everyone submit like music for that video. And we
Oh,
went through literally, well, we only made it through about half of them, and then Rob did the rest. That it's now posted at courses.mastering.com. You can watch, but we were just going one by one and seeing like 30 seconds. Does it work? Does it not work? Good cop, bad cop. It was fun.
sweet.
Yeah,
That's
just
awesome.
practicing kind of getting accustomed to that initial emotional reaction, right? And getting to learn that, getting to trust that as far as a North Star of where your compositions are headed.
Yeah, sweet. Awesome. Look at you guys.
Okay.
It was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was cool.
Lou asks, how many submissions were made for feedback?
Yeah, overall total number of tracks, we had just under 150. Yeah.
Dang,
You guys
dude.
are good with homework.
And they were great.
Really solid.
I was really impressed. There's a decent level going on here already, so that's fun. And even while there's always room for improvement that we talked about for most of them, it was good stuff. So
Yep.
now we only got to review about what 50 of them before we
Yep.
call it, but you went through and did the rest, and that video is now posted at courses.mastering.com. If you didn't get yours yesterday, they are there now, and Rob went through the rest of them. We should have done it together, Rob.
Nice one, Rob.
I was a little too busy, but no bad cop,
Yeah. Well, I channeled some. I was a little kind of.
Channel
I
some
turned my head. I
Right.
used two different voices.
like Ren.
Right. Exactly.
Forward cap, backwards cap.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Really leaned into the dramatics of it.
Oh, yes.
No, there was some cool. There was actually some submissions that Caleb, I was thinking you would really enjoy
Oh,
as
really?
well. Yeah. Some
Up my
really cool
alley.
ones. For sure. I think you would have just appreciated kind of the artistic take on it.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Do like things that are a little different.
Phaser heavy stuff. Frank remembers. I learned that yesterday about Caleb, that Caleb
Yeah.
is anti-phaser.
Yeah. I'll tell you the one time I like using a phaser. And this is not a joke, it's legitimate. But I like a phaser in one situation. There is a technique you can do with hi-hats that are like programmed hi-hats, where you can put a very light phaser on it and it kind of changes the tone of the hi-hat just enough to where it gives it some, not even very much, but just an almost imperceptible, but just felt more than heard kind of change to the feel of it. So it's not just so robotic.
Mm.
That's the time.
Yeah.
But phaser on guitars died with my 15-year-old band 20 years ago.
Doesn't Tame Impala use phaser on guitars quite a bit? Should like Tame Impala?
More like Tame the Phaser. They need to
Rob, this is what I'm
What?
talking about, dude. You just gotta let us riff.
Oh man. That's really
yeah,
fun.
it's very rare that I dig the phaser.
I don't know why that just happened.
I like modulation.
Does anyone here? Oh, go on.
I like modulation. I just, that.
Yeah.
Do you over and over guitar? No. I'm out.
Does anyone here watch our YouTube channel? I know most people are new from Spitfire, so might not be as familiar. We're thinking about like
Few ones.
doing some Oh, is my internet being weird?
Phaser Fest.
Um,
Yeah, I'm not hosting that one.
okay.
That's a no from me, dog.
That's a no
Film
from
them
me,
together.
dog.
Just signed up for it. Yeah, what do you guys think of Jake and Caleb filming some videos for the YouTube channel, like together? Like they film it like these events, but it's like concise, planned out, 30 minutes-ish. Okay, that seems like people would like that idea.
Good
I got
call.
a lot of.
Bad
I'm
call.
seeing a lot of exclamation points.
Okay,
Sweet.
might have to try that.
Okay. Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Give it a go.
I'm roping you in, Caleb.
Yeah,
You're a YouTube
I'm
channel.
down, man. Down. I'm down
You
to
just have to run the program, run the events,
You've been
do
voluntold.
the YouTube.
I like that voluntold.
Voluntold.
I have plenty of free time. It'll be great. No issues whatsoever.
The man
Yeah.
doesn't sleep.
It's
You know,
wild.
you got all those extra hours. Got to fill them with something.
Trying to change that. Trying to, sleep a little more. Be my best self for all y'all.
Sleep is good.
I need an extra job, yeah.
Hey guys, I got a couple of sock puppets for sale. Anyone interested in taking them off my hands?
Hey-oh.
Someone in chat had a good one for you yesterday, Jake, but you were gone. It was been reading a book about anti-gravity. Can't put it down. I can't put it down.
I got the punchline before you said it and just
Yeah.
couldn't help.
Nice
Jake,
one.
did you get anything in the post recently?
I did.
That sounded like a setup. That actually wasn't a setup for a joke.
No,
That
I know it.
sent Jake something in
Dude,
the
I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. Rob sent me this.
New reference manual.
Can you see that? Can you read that?
Dad jokes.
It's just a book of dad
But
jokes.
decent.
That's incredible.
It's a book of dad jokes. I got it in the mail and I was like, dude, it warmed my heart. It warmed the cockles of my heart.
Good.
Why are you
Really?
encouraging him, Rob?
I absolutely love it. I got it right next to my desk. I'm ready. I'm loaded. I'm locked and loaded.
You drop into the beginning of these webinars and then you hightail out of here.
Yeah,
I have to live with Jake. Basically married.
Just stir the pot and then bail.
All right, see you guys.
Right.
Yeah, that's like grandpa feeding the kids candy, and then just like passing them back.
Yeah, here you go.
Enjoy that crash.
I
Anyway.
hope you're all doing well. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Glad you're all back. It's good to see all of you in the chat. You guys seem excited.
This is like the cool gang that we're left with. I was trying to
Oh,
think of a
for
better
sure.
term than cool gang, but it didn't come.
They're the
But
gluttons
these
for
are-
punishment. I always say it. If you made it to day 3, you're the real learners. You're the real ones that want to do this stuff.
Hardcore.
You're the hardcore crusters, as my friends would say. I don't even know what that means.
No idea.
You're hardcore. Glutton gang. There it is.
There it is. Love a good alliteration.
Nev, you get 5%.
Yeah, Kevin says this is opening a new door for me, so thanks. Yeah.
What's the biggest thing you've taken away so far in the last couple days before we get started? Just watched day 1. Wow, awesome, Paul.
Emotions.
Intention, emotions, more research, emotional content. How much music helps transition scenes. Cool. Not being able to watch movies anymore the same way. We ruined movies for you. Sustainability, that's a good one. Emotional response, feel the picture, empathy of the character, organization, great. Emotional intentions, follow the detail.
Objectivity, yeah.
That's cool. Ambiance, details, and intentions. Very cool. Match the tempo of the reference to help beat temp love. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Paul said, Rob, I really appreciated the feedback on my track, Paul Riley, as I sometimes feel imposter syndrome.
I think we all do. At least I'm there with you, Paul. Right? My pleasure to give some feedback. It's important to, you push through that. I'm a firm believer and everybody kind of has to work hard at the mindset piece of it, right? And you just have to lean into it. And like we talked about yesterday, just feeling confident in understanding and trusting the emotion that you feel and being able to then kind of articulate that, be creative in that space and figure out how you express that. And you just keep doing it and doing it. And I think that imposter voice gets quieter and quieter and quieter.
Talk a lot about that in the programs that we do because it is a big deal.
Sure.
To enhance. Cool, Kevin. Yeah. All right. Who's ready to get started? Should we do this thing?
Yeah.
I'm ready, Caleb.
Today's going to be a ton of fun. I'm pretty excited. Welcome to Sync Fest Day 3. Glutton Gang, showing strong. I wish I had Glutton Gang t-shirts to send all of you. No, it really is cool. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can spend your time. I also know that there's, I spent a lot of my career not learning enough and maybe being a little maybe too self-confident in some respects. Didn't matter where I got to, though. What I realized eventually is you have to keep learning no matter where you get to. You have to continue to push yourself. You have to continue to learn. If you ever stop in this industry, I can't even stop now because the moment you stop, you're going backwards. So if you're here, regardless of the level that you're at, it means you're pushing to learn, and that's cool. I mean, you could just be playing video games right now, or a lot of worse things to do. So I'm stoked that you're here and to spend some more time with you today. In terms of introductions, one last time, if you haven't made the other days, my name's Caleb Lovelace. I'm the Director of Education for Mastering.com. I've been doing music for about 25 years. I've done a lot of different things from touring to A&R to sync licensing to production, mixing and mastering. And I've been teaching now for about 10 years in different capacities. And we also have Rob Mazes here. He's the CEO of Mastering.com. He gathered so many great teachers, so many great people business minds and people that wanted to change the industry, change education for engineers and producers. He's passionate about this more so than anyone I've ever met. He really wants to change things. He really wants to give people a direction and opportunity. And he gathered people with that intention. And it's been really fun building mastering.com with him. It's been one of the joys of my life. And I'm really thankful for him as a CEO and owner of this company and a friend and a mentor. Also, Jake Codeweiss is here with us today. He's going to be mixing and mastering. You've known him from Fix the Mixes in the past, Usathon as well. If you know Jake, you know he's an incredible teacher. He's an incredible producer, mix and mastering engineer. He's also done a ton of sync. We haven't had him on this week, but Jake probably has more license placements than I do. I think it was 1,500. He told me had about 1,500 placements over the years, which is insane.
It's amazing.
It's a huge number. And he's also a great educator, an incredible mentor for our reverse engineer program. We're lucky to have him and thankful that he could be with us today here. And then, of course, Rob Shoestack, the guru of the sync licensing world. You've literally worn every hat. You must have a room dedicated to the hats that you've worn in your house. You walk in there, it's like Beyonce's shoe closet of hats that you've worn in this industry. You've done it all, and your knowledge and depth of knowledge is just blown my mind as I've gotten to know you over the last couple of years. I'm thankful that you're here with us at mastering.com as well. The students love you, and you care passionately about their progress as you help drive them through the sync world. And so thankful for Rob Shoestack being here as well. Incredible team. At mastering.com, we offer education. We're not into affiliate deals or any of that type of stuff. It's very simple. We offer education programs. We're trying to make the best education programs in the world. We think we're accomplishing that. We're changing the game. We're changing the way people approach learning, production, mixing, and mastering, and filling a space that for a long time has been devoid of good help, has been antiquated in resources, and has not been a great value for a lot of people. So we're bringing the new stuff. We're bringing the modern way, and we're excited to what we're building here. And of course, the sponsor of this event, our new partner, Spitfire Audio. If you don't have Spitfire audio products, what are you doing?
Woo!
Their free stuff is better than most people's paid stuff.
Agreed.
For sure.
Their labs products are insane. All their paid stuff is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just making great stuff, and you know, we can't rely on old MIDI sounding stuff anymore. It's not enough. If you want to be successful, whether you're a musician, an artist, or want to get into the sync world, your stuff has to sound great. Has to sound real. They're making very high quality, the highest quality stuff around for producers to, you know, give that real live sound.
Dude, since day one.
Yeah.
Since day one,
Yeah.
too. They started, like, first listen to their libraries when they first came out. I knocked my socks off completely.
Yeah, and we get nothing for saying this. They sponsored the event, but we're not an affiliate for them. We don't get anything if you buy their products. We just like their ethos as a company. We're thankful to partner with them. The only thing we ever do with companies that we partner with is usually get discount for our students. So we'll work on that. But yeah, it's not a, if you want to use someone else, go use someone else. But these are a really great product, and we're just thankful that they made this event free, and they're a good partner with us.
For sure.
Okay, Rob.
Yes.
Give us a feast. Give our ears a feast with your wisdoms and knowledges, my friend.
Let's do that. Everybody, napkins in, and we can we'll dig right in here. So we've made it. I'm all there. We go. Thank you, Jake. I'm doubling down on the Glutton Gang tag. I like it. Just to echo what Caleb was saying, love that you guys are here. Love that everybody's leaning into this opportunity to learn and experience and be hands-on with exploring the sync space. So day one, we broke down an original composition. The amazing composer Julia Piker put together this beautiful score to a set of visuals that she brought to us. And we watched how with creative intention, it kind of came together, right? Day 2, we then looked at a catalog. We did it kind of in the reverse way. We looked at existing music, we looked at exploring libraries, and we learned how to listen to our emotional reactions when we hear music, what resonates with us, and that using that as a guide to kind of steer our creative direction. Right? And we learned that every piece of music that you create can have a place in sync. It doesn't have to just be created specifically for sync. It doesn't have to just be this very sweeping orchestral score. It doesn't just have to be that, right? It's about understanding the emotion. It's about understanding the intention. And we learned how to look at your existing catalog and the pieces that you create moving forward through that lens. Today, we're going to explore kind of the unsung hero, in my opinion, of the sync space, mixing and mastering. And we're going to watch a live mix session take place. Jake's going to walk us through as he mixes the original composition that Julia brought to us on day 1. And we're going to watch all of the emotional impact that we saw just deepen and take on even brighter colors and form even deeper connections and stronger connections, right? All through just understanding how are we using sound to help enhance that emotional connection. And you guys know that that's a big piece of sync. We'll revisit that in a minute. Just to kind of give you an idea, we're going to walk through about 10 to 15 minutes of some of these ideas. We're going to tie it all together today, answer some of the questions that you guys have been asking. Then we're going to walk through this mix session like we're talking about. We'll recap for a bit, and then we'll leave it open for some Q&A at the end. So just to revisit, what is sync? We have a brand new perspective on this now, right? Day 3, we kind of have our arms wrapped around it all. We learned that sync music is created for or paired with visuals, right? Created for, meaning custom. It's created specifically for that spot, or paired with, it's an existing piece of music that's then licensed or placed with a set of visuals. It's the music supervision aspect of it, catalog searching, right? And that can be used in any kind of media, film, TV, advertising, video games. We talked about social, podcast, corporate uses, direct with brands, online content. We can use it all, right? And I want to revisit this again. What is the goal of sync? It's to use music to enhance the overall creative impact of a visual project. And hopefully now, day 3, you all have a much broader and deeper appreciation for what that means, the enhancement of this creative project, right? We saw how it can deepen an emotional connection. We saw how it assists in telling a story, right? There's a creative direction. There's a narrative to be told. How does music play a role in telling that story? How does music play a role in helping the audience to connect, right? And how does music help to create, to strengthen that overall creative intention that kind of encompasses this entire thing, right? We saw day 1 from the original composition, day 2 in looking at existing pieces. When we use this creative intention idea as a North Star, we're able to really pay attention and listen to the emotions that resonate. We're able to listen to music through that emotional lens so we understand how it fits in. Like I said, we learned about the importance of clear creative intention on day 1, the importance of listening to music through that emotional lens, right? With emotional intention, listening to what resonates, feeling it, letting it kind of permeate and really sitting with that and objectively connecting to that emotion, understanding what that is. But how do I move forward? What do we do with all of that information? And I think this question, I see it pop up a ton, right? How do I break into sync? What do I do? How can I get an email? Like, give me an email list of people that I can reach out to, or give me an email template that I can send that's going to crack the code, or show me a chart that's going to point me in the direction of everything I need to do step by step. And part of me wishes that I could do that for you and say, listen, here's all you have to do. And if you use this string of words and email it to this email address, by the end of the week, you will have a sync. Sadly, that is not how it works, right? And while, of course, there is value, and we'll talk about the relationship aspect of it, it's crucial, right? Building the relationships, building your network is a huge piece of it. In my opinion, having these lists of emails, these lists of companies to reach out to is important, but it's putting the cart before the horse. If you don't know what you're doing with that relationship, you're not going to maintain that relationship. Okay. And the importance and the real success in sync is about the longevity and the strength of the relationships that you form. That's really the kind of the magic to it, right? And it's all about learning to become a trusted and a valued partner in the sync space, right? And once you can focus on deepening emotional connection, assisting in telling a story, strengthening that creative intention, when you understand how to do that, and you understand how that fits into your workflow, you understand how that fits into the music that you're creating, that's when you can start to establish yourself as a trusted partner. That's when your partners will keep coming back to you because they understand that you understand their roadblocks. You understand the hurdles that they have in front of them. You understand what creative puzzles they're trying to solve, and you understand how you fit into that equation. It's not just, hey, I'm an awesome composer. I'm an awesome producer. You will love my music, right? It's much bigger than that. And it's being able to understand how you fit into that equation and offer something of value and become that trusted partner. So where does it start? It starts with a bunch of mindset shifts, right? And here are some things I want to walk through these. We're going to give you some kind of tips and tricks, if you will. I cringe at using that terminology because it's not about that, right? The difference, and I think this is a testament to everything we do at mastering.com. It's beyond just the tips and tricks, and it's the deep and full understanding of why we do certain things that yield success, right? And these are some kind of pointers to help get you in that direction. So I want you all to start to become really curious about success clues. So what do I mean? We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but the mindset shift comes when you're watching TV or you're watching a movie, and we all know that we've completely ruined how you watch TV and you watch movies now. You will never listen to it the same way. You are welcome. But when you're listening to it and you hear that song, I think a common reaction is a kind of a pang of jealousy or envy, and maybe even kind of animosity that's like, oh, I could have produced that better. I could have written a better cue. That doesn't sound good at all. I don't like that track. Yeah, like that kind of face. Meh. So instead of that, which I think is a very natural and human reaction, I want you all to take the mind shift of using that feeling as an alarm bell or an indicator that it's something that you're passionate about. It's something that you want, right? So, okay, well, this is something I'm really passionate about. I want to lean into this. And then start to look at it through a different lens and say, why was this picked? Okay, let's not get mad and stomp and be upset about why it was picked instead of yours. Think about why the client used it. What is working? Because no matter what, you can find something that's working, right? And just look at it objectively and say, okay, these are the parts that I think make sense. And start to understand how you can incorporate that into your music, how you can incorporate that in the way you talk about your music, the way you pitch your music, the way you're ultimately going to do that outreach, form these relationships, right? Start understanding what's working. So study sync, become curious about what's working, see if there are trends, lyrical trends, instrument trends, production style trends, right? The levels of volume in certain things. Jake's going to walk you through it today, but start to notice everything that exists out there is a reference track for you to listen to. Start to pick up what's working about it, right? And within that, you start to practice objective listening, right? Really focus on what you're hearing and what you're feeling. What emotion resonates with you? What does it make you feel? Right? Because it's connected. Like we learned yesterday, music and sound hits our brain and we start to process that quicker than any other sensory input, even visuals. So if you're watching a film, you're watching a commercial, that sound is going to hit your brain and it's going to make you feel something. What is it making you feel? Be hyper aware of that, right? Understand the overall creative need, like we talked about. How do you fit into the larger picture, right? Humble enough to understand how you fit into the group, the collective of the project, and what is the best creative solution for that project. Not how does my music shine the most, or what do I want it to be? What is the best creative solution overall? And then, like we explored yesterday and on day one, then you can have the creative freedom once you understand, like, okay, here's what we're working towards, and I can figure out all these interesting ways to get there. So that's where some of the creativity and a lot of the fun lives, right? So those are just some mindset things that I want you all to take away and think about. As you're working on your mindset, we can follow these next steps, tangible steps, to start to get your catalog ready, to start to get your music in a place where you feel confident and excited about your pitches. You understand how you're fitting in. You're objectively understanding those emotional impacts that you feel from your music. Right. So I want you all to go back, listen through your catalog. We know now that everything in your catalog has potential for sync as long as you control the rights, and you're going to listen to it through an objective emotional lens. Connect to it. What happens when you listen to it, and listen to it objectively as far as technical skills too. We'll get to that at the bottom, but just really objectively listen to it as though you're listening to it for the first time, right? Then organize your music with emotional and creative intention. So as you're noticing what comes up for you, start to categorize it. You don't have to only have that as your main form of categorization. But as we saw yesterday, genres can only take you so far. So if you say this is a rock track, okay, cool. Well, what does that mean? It's a rock track. Well, it's got guitars and bass and live drums, and it's got like a aggressive kind of vibe to it. An aggressive kind of vibe to it. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Right? So start having that conversation with yourself about the music that you're producing, and you can start to categorize that. And you don't have to just do it with your songs. Do it with your virtual instruments, your actual instruments as well, right? Any sounds that you're collecting. Start to think about, why am I going to reach for that instrument? Why am I going to pull up that VST? Why am I going to load this preset from, the Albion 1 instrument? What emotional impact is it going to have? What do I want it to do? So start thinking about it that way. And it's really important to integrate your objective listening into your productions, including your sound selection, right? And we talked about that a lot in the reviews yesterday. When you grab a snare, when you grab a hi-hat, when you grab even a timpani, or like Caleb was talking about just now, the quality of your instruments. It's not just, oh, I guess I'll use a violin because I want it to feel kind of emotive and a little bit sad. So I'm going to do this solo violin line, and it's going to be kind of meandering, and it's going to make me feel sad. Think about what the actual sound of the instrument is doing. Does that violin create an emotion? Does that snare do something to convey a feeling of grit and energy and tension? Not just a snare for the sake of putting something on a 2 and 4 in a measure, right? Really listen to it for the emotional impact that the sounds have. So the same way you're thinking about your final product, your music, as a piece of the overall creative, think also about each individual instrument as an individual creative piece of your total song, right? How do they fit into that as well? And then find the objective ways to level up your music, looking at things technically, right? Jake's going to walk you through all of that today in talking about how do we objectively listen to our mix and do something like mixing and mastering to help level up. And this goes back to the initial tip that we had with being curious, listening to examples. Be objective, be honest about how your music sounds against other music that's getting synced. Could this production be better? Could the mix be better? Is it too loud? Is it clipping? Is it too much reverb? Does it sound demo-y? Right? Why? Understand why, and then start to dial in those technical skills to fix it.
Man, I just gotta say, and I didn't read your slides today or what you're going to talk about. Those 4 things you just talked about are literally the 4 things I wish I would have implemented in my process 10 years earlier.
Yeah, same.
Oh my gosh. That stuff is everything. When you understand the speed you need to work at, the level you need to get to, and the lens you need to look through,
Yeah.
all of that stuff becomes the core of success. 100%. That was incredible, Rob. Thank you. That
I
literally
I
made me
appreciate that.
feel-
Yeah, and you know, this speaks also to that imposter syndrome voice that we have in our heads. The more you do this and the more comfortable you feel with this, it becomes second nature. And then you're trusting your instinct and you're letting that guide your creative process. And that for me helps with the confidence and the approach. You guys have been asking a lot about it, and I know I said, listen, a list is just a list of email addresses if you don't know what to do with it, right? And I wholeheartedly believe that, but wanted to give you some outreach tips as well because it is about developing relationships, and you'll see it's the last and probably most important piece of this. But just some things you can do as you're thinking about outreach, right? Understand what it is you do best. And this doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I produce hip hop. That's a big part of it. Okay. But understand really like what emotion do you most like creating for? Okay. Use all of the pieces of information that we've learned throughout these 3 days and figure out how that applies to you. If you had to write a job description for yourself to compose a specific kind of music or for a specific kind of emotion, what would that top thing be? What would jump out at you as like, oh, I would love to be doing something like that? And understand what resonates with you. It's funny, I see a lot of times, like in our Sync Elective, we talk about it a lot, how, and the same thing happens to me. You set out to write something, and maybe it's a brief that wants something a little up tempo and bright and exciting, and just some dark stuff just finds its way in, right? Not over the top, like you're writing kind of, all minor.
There's a
You-
chord that like pokes its head up.
Totally.
Right? That like totally shifts everything.
Totally
Yeah.
shifts it, right? And especially even with the mix, right? Like, oh, I want to, why do I keep reaching for this low pass filter? I just want to shave all of this off, right?
That's
Why do I want this more distorted? I don't know. I can't help myself. But it's
me.
one of those things, right? And it's important to listen to that. It's what you do, it's what resonates with you. So understand that. And part of that is understanding when you bow out and when you say, yeah, that's not really for me.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just understanding what you do best and what you love doing. Then encourage you all to create a short and engaging reel of your work. Right. Make it creative, make it something interesting. You guys can do some research online and look up creative reel ideas. Even if you don't have any examples of work, you say you're brand new to the space, never worked on a spot, never won a spot, not a problem. You can still figure out a way to do it. I've seen really creative reels in the form of just like an intro video where it's like, hey, I'm Rob. I enjoy long walks on the beach and metal music. I da 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 da. Even just introducing yourself and talking about yourself, you're creating a piece of content. And what did we learn? We learned that all pieces of content can be synced with music, right? Music can be synced to these pieces of content, and you have the opportunity then to show your creative intention, show what you do best, and help make that emotional connection with your audience. The audience doesn't have to be a group of folks in a theater or on their couch watching TV. It's whoever you're connecting with. It's interpersonal communication. This works across the board, right? So there are opportunities, even if you don't have specific examples to point to. And then package your,
How long would you suggest a reel be?
yeah, keep it tight. You don't want it. It's not a feature. It's not a feature film. It's not a documentary. Keep it under, 3 minutes.
I was gonna say 90 seconds if you can.
90 seconds would be great. I think it's really hard to write a complete message in 90 seconds, which is one of the challenges of sync. That's kind of fun, but keep it tight. Listen, part of listening with emotional through an emotional lens and paying attention to that emotional connection, you'll get a feel for when it's too long. If you can make it engaging enough and change the music and change what's happening, then you could get away with something that's, 3 minutes or under. If you want to make it really punchy and really impactful and you're not showing full clips of your work, then yeah, you keep it under 90 seconds for sure. Right? The longer you can kind of show examples. So you talk about who you are, what you do. I compose this kind of music. For example, like this thing I did with so-and-so. And that's if you have specific examples, or if you even create specific examples. Borrow some visuals from a friend who's a filmmaker, right? Use them for that kind of purpose. But you want to keep it short. You want to keep it snappy.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, if you want to do 90 seconds or 3 minutes, it doesn't really matter that much because they're going to know within 5 to 10 seconds whether they want to keep listening.
100%.
And if that's not strong, then it doesn't matter how long it is or short it is. You get 5 seconds to get 30 seconds and 30 seconds to get 3 minutes. And that's
Yeah.
how it works. And you have to think of it that way.
Yeah. Christina's asking, do you need visuals? So I would recommend you have something, even if it's just words on the screen. Score just the words. You could do something really dramatic with just words or stock images. I've made countless videos for clients using just stock imagery because they're like, oh, we don't want to get a videographer. We don't want to do da 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 da. How can we do this? I'm like, I got you. Once you take a stock image that's boring, potentially, no offense to any stock photographers or anyone who works in stock, they're commonplace, right? Once you start adding music and a little bit of sound design, scoring what you're seeing, you would be amazed at how the visuals come to life, right? Stock images take on a whole new meaning once you put music to it and you start to kind of add a little bit of personality and depth. So you don't need visuals in the sense of like, oh, I have to have a film cue to score to, but you want to have something that's engaging. And the reason is because you want to show that you understand the art of putting music to visuals. That's what we're doing here, right? And in order to demonstrate that, you got to put it out there. You got to show them, right? It's social proof in saying like, oh, wow, this person gets it. They understand how to create a flow, a creative flow and an energy. I'm engaged. This is great. Even if it's just words. Use cool fonts, have it type out, quick cuts, all types of ways you can do it. But that's what I would recommend. And then you want to package yourself, like we're talking about, how do you speak about yourself with the same creative and emotional intention that we're learning with our music, right? What are you great at? What do you do best? How do you share that with people? It's not just, hey, I'm really good at music. I make awesome stuff. My stuff sounds cool. This is about emotional connection. Give yourself the freedom to have a little bit of vulnerability to connect and be like, this is who I am. This is what I offer beyond just awesome music, because it's about developing real and non-transactional relationships. If you roll in like, hey, what projects are you working on? I make awesome stuff. You should use it. I can almost guarantee you're not going to form a relationship with that person. Right? It's beyond that. And yes, it's all a piece of sales. There's transactional elements to it all. Everybody understands that, right? But like we talked about yesterday, everyone also, in one way or another, wants you to win, because you winning means they win. Again, zooming out to that whole of the creative, you're a part of that whole. If the creative is successful, that means you were successful. That means everybody involved was successful. And that means the client is happy and the relationship grows and continues and they will come back to you. That's what it's about, building real relationships. And it doesn't mean like you become best friends with every single person and like, let's go out and discuss, our deepest fears and dreams. You could totally do that. But it's about establishing, being willing and open to connect on that emotional level. Okay.
Amazing. Just truth bombs everywhere. Stoked about that. Great, great, Great stuff.
Yeah. So with all of that information in mind, right, we have some ideas, we have some techniques that we can use, we have some good housekeeping practices that we can get our things organized, start to build our confidence, start to build our catalog, our reel. Then where are we going to go? So we should revisit what we talked about at the beginning, right? Music for sync is something that is either created or used, placed for visuals in a media project, right? So on the custom creation side, you can focus on things like scoring films, scoring film trailers, right? Maybe writing a custom cover that is trailerized. You'll hear it talked about trailerized music comes up a lot, right? It's kind of bombastic and epic and lots of brams and bass drops and big pieces. Little side nugget, and Caleb actually touched on it yesterday in our review session. Don't go overboard scoring if you're like, oh, I think this would be really cool for like a Transformers trailer. Don't go overboard scoring some Transformers rolling or kicking or doing whatever they're going to do. Don't preemptively score the action. The trailer house will almost always do that because it's going to be very specific, like we saw on day one, to where that lines up, right? So don't worry so much about those specific little nuanced pieces for general catalog tracks that you're creating. That will come after as it gets more kind of detailed, but instead focus on the emotion. What is the emotion of the trailer? What is the emotion of this movie that I imagine this being used for? And if you're thinking about films and trailers, some ways that you would want to figure out the roads to make those relationships would be with filmmakers, and that could be local filmmakers. Reach out to people who are creating local film house, playhouse. There are countless number of opportunities to start meeting people, and I can tell you that when you start a relationship with somebody who might just be starting out as well, or who is doing something at the local movie theater or the local playhouse, when you form that relationship and they start to grow, you go with them and you start to build these collaborations that last throughout a career and snowball and build on top of each other, lifting each other up, right? Trailer houses, there are specific trailer houses that do this. Producers at studios, music publishers can help to find opportunities for this as well. So those are some of the ways you kind of break into that space. So when you have all of your ducks in a row, when you feel like you have the material and you start to look to do outreach and gather your lists of emails, right? These are folks that you can focus on, and you want to make it custom. You want to make sure that you're targeting the right person and not just saying like, hey, I'd like to do something in sync. Do you do that? Can you help me? Let's work together. More custom cues for TV, themes for television, right? Whether it be character themes or show themes. So you're going to work with production companies. Oftentimes, a lot of production companies are responsible for producing series of shows. The networks, obviously, showrunners. For those unfamiliar with the term showrunner, they're really kind of like the head creative, right? Making the creative decisions for shows. Again, music publishers can help find those opportunities as well. In ad work, we have custom ad work done through music houses, directly with ad agencies, directly with brands. If you have a local brand that you really love, even a local business, right? You love the local coffee shop, you love to support them. Cool. Talk to the owner, strike up a conversation, see what they're about. Do they produce any content? Do they have videos online? Sweet. I'm willing to bet if they do that it has some music in it. Where are they getting that music? Wouldn't they like to support a local artist as well and do something collaborative? You understand their passion. You're able to share your passion with them. You make that connection. That's how you establish those deep, less transactional relationships, right? And then in the video game space, and I'm just using kind of the top four here, right? The video game and film, TV advertising. You're going to be working with game developers. Maybe, you know someone, excuse me, in school, or a friend of a friend who's developing a video game. That sounds sweet. Great. Drop them a line and say, hey, Who's doing the music? Do you have any thoughts on that? Can I help you come up with a strategy for the music? What's the vibe? What kind of emotion do you want to evoke with this? What type of game is it? What's the story? Right? You'll be able to speak to these points. You'll position yourself as the expert, and they'll say, "Oh, yeah, that's really interesting. Let's work together on some stuff." Right? That's how you start to develop those relationships. And then on the licensed side, or kind of the using existing material side, for film and TV, you're going to work with music supervisors who are hired for the specific film or production, trailer houses, sync reps. So sync reps, you'll notice, are kind of across the board on the licensed part. Sync reps are people who are going to represent your catalog of music and basically go out and find you opportunities. Right? They have pre-established relationships with the music supervisors, the trailer houses, the ad agencies, the music houses. So like they are able to maintain those relationships because they represent great music. So when you're pitching your music to them, you're talking about what is special about your catalog of music. What do you do best? What do you love? So you'll see that's what we mean when we talk about sync reps, and you'll see that across the board here. TV cues and music supervisors, showrunners, sync reps, publishers, etc. In ads, you're working with music houses, do music supervision sometimes as well. Ad agencies directly, brands directly. Same thing with games. You'll see a lot of similarity here, right? So the game developers, the studios, trailer houses for the music, and then music libraries as well, right? Music libraries, as we explored yesterday, are destinations with catalogs of music that are categorized by mood, emotion, genre, and it's a place where filmmakers, content creators, podcast hosts, everybody's using music libraries to find their music, right? And you can work directly with them. You can submit your music to those music libraries. Same rules apply. You need to understand what it is that you do. What problem are you solving for them? Is it versatility? Is it a lane? Excuse me, guys. Is it a lane that you do really well? What is it that you love? How do you articulate that to them? How do you share your passion, your creative intention, your emotional intention with them? That's how you position yourself. Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of information on that page. The replay will be available, and I would recommend going back and looking through that and making sure you understand who you would talk to depending on which direction you want to go.
Yeah.
It's just important to know, and there's
Sure.
still more to it that we can get into, but it's important to know where to
And
go.
that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, Caleb. You guys heard me talk about it a little bit. In general, there is no one overarching solution that's like, cool, here's everybody that I need to know in the sync industry. Here's every way I need to connect with somebody. This is a broad guide to help provide a bit of a North Star with the direction that you feel resonates most with you. Right? That's what this should be used as. And then the real work is done, like we talked about earlier, getting all of those pieces in line and getting accustomed to listening to music through that emotional lens. Right? And I just want to reiterate again, we've gone through it all. We've gone through our chat today, 2 days of learning and listening. How do we become a trusted and valuable partner in the space? It's by focusing on deepening that emotional connection, assisting in telling a story, and strengthening creative intention. Understanding what that means, understanding how you play a role in that, and understanding how you can deliver that value to your clients. And a huge way to do that, which I'm super stoked for you guys to learn about today, is through mixing and mastering your stuff. One final note that I'll say on the mixing and mastering front: crucial piece when you are delivering music to a client, when you are pitching your music to a client, it's really important that you do not assume the client will understand what it'll sound like once you get it mixed and mastered. It's like, yeah, it's fine. It's good enough. The client will, it might not sound like radio ready, but I think all the pieces are there. You need to put your absolute best foot forward across the board, and that includes your mix and your master. Because I will tell you this: if your piece of music is sitting on a client's desk against another piece of music that's, let's say, equal or even maybe a little lesser production value, but it's mixed and mastered to perfection, the client is going to gravitate towards that mixed and mastered track. I'm going to say almost every time. And the reason is because it just sounds finished. It sounds professional. It sounds like, oh, this could be in a commercial, right? And maybe the composition, maybe pieces of the production are better or could be in a commercial and are super pro as well. But the client isn't going to, you can't task the client with making that mental leap, that creative leap to say, got it. I understand what this would sound like if it was mastered. Cool. Yeah, I think I like that one better, right? Not their job, not their capability. Your job to put the best possible thing you can in front of them, and a proper mix and master on it is integral.
Totally, man. Like, connect the dots for them, serve it to them on a silver platter, make it as easy as possible for them to just say, yes, this can be useful to me.
That's exactly right.
Oh.
That's exactly right.
I'm gonna talk for a second about mixing and mastering, some high level concepts for us to focus on. But before I dive into that, I want to sum up a concept that I think encompasses everything that we've talked about over the last 3 days so far. And it really comes down to the one word of trust. To think in reverse, because I love reverse engineering problems. I came up with the idea of the reverse engineer to teach students more effectively. That's just how my brain works. What you need to understand about all these music supervisors, these reps, all these people, is that they're really busy and they can't deal with a lot of crap.
Totally.
And once you understand that, you're able to become what you need to be for them, which consists of a lot of different things. They need to trust that you can get really close or nail the brief every time, that you have that emotional connection and that creative connection just by second nature, and that your stuff is going to come to them sounding great, mixed and mastered, that you're going to be timely in your responses on email, that you can turn stuff around really fast, that you can work really quickly. If you become that for somebody important, they will come to you every time because they don't have time to deal with a bunch of people who don't have those qualities. They just don't, they won't, the reason they won't consider you is because you become more work for them.
That's right.
So everything you're doing is developing that trust through who you become, through all these skill sets that we've talked about. And then once you have that and you become that person, what I've found is when you have those qualities, opportunities just find you. You'll get, if you keep pushing and you keep reaching out and you keep networking, you'll find the person, you'll get the opportunity, and then you're in and you have those qualities to maintain that relationship because you're someone that they can trust. And I've seen it many, many times with many, many students and different people in my circle over the years. Become, yeah, the kind of person they're looking for. And so that's what it's really all about. We're talking about all the pieces necessary, but it's not about writing emails to people. That's not what people want. That doesn't do anything for them. You being a person that they can trust, now there's gravity. And that's what we're looking for. So,
Sure.
As we dive into the mixing and mastering stuff here, let's focus on that and realize that it is an important part of the process. It's not, you can't anymore be someone who doesn't know how to do that. It's not the speed of the industry anymore. It's just essential to do. So I'm going to take over and talk a little bit about that. And, we have limited time. This isn't a fix the mix where we take 3 days and really start to break mixing and mastering down more. So I'm not going to get into like the technical part so much of mixing and mastering here. I think that's beyond the scope of what we can do in the time we have today. But I can talk high level concepts that we could focus on. And then as you push forward, you can find ways to get the skills you need to do what I'm talking about here. But let's just focus on that if we can. Is it different than normal mixing and mastering? It's not really, except that you just need to be able to work quickly. You don't have time to to putz around and think about it for 3 months. You need to be proficient enough that you can mix and master. But that's true for anything. The quicker you can work as a
Yeah, you
mix and
shouldn't be
master,
doing 3 months mixing on anything.
that's not normal mixing and mastering anyway. You don't have time to do that. And it's even more important, though, is my point, in the sync world, because the turnaround times are quick and the expectation is super high. And so it's all the same stuff. It's all the same skills that you need to learn. It's just important to do it. And if you can, especially mastering, not a lot of people really know how to do that well. Mixing is a hard thing for people, but even more mastering, making it sound loud and clear and punchy and well balanced goes a long way. Is there value in learning to do it yourself? I've kind of already been talking about that and answering it. It's literally 1,000,000% yes. You have to these days. No one is going to work with you if you can't deliver them something. No, there's no places right now that are like, yeah, we'll send this off to get mixed and mastered now. It just doesn't exist anymore. It kind of used to be that way. It's not anymore at all. You have to learn to do this yourself if you're going to be in sync. So the high level concepts I want to talk about briefly today before we watch Jake do this. Mixing and mastering is about clarity and balance. It's about enhancing emotion, and it's about telling a story. Let me break those down really quickly. In terms of clarity and balance, what we teach our students in our programs that get into the technical part of this, and when you really start to understand mastering a little bit more, that loudness that makes your stuff stand out and that clarity that makes your stuff stand out comes from frequency and dynamic balance. Okay. There's this whole art to making stuff sound good coming out of those analog boxes we call speakers. These cones and magnets that vibrate back and forth are not perfect creatures. Okay. They have limitations. Buildups in certain frequencies, over dynamics that aren't controlled, kill your loudness and they kill your clarity. And when you're sitting at a, when your song is in the run for a high level placement, I said this yesterday, there's going to be 5 really good tracks on the table. And 9 times out of 10, I know this from watching it literally happen. 9 times out of 10, it's the one that sounds the best in 5 seconds that gets picked every time.
Yep.
So your ability to learn how to create loudness through mixing and mastering, and it's not as simple as it sounds. It's not about just turning it up. Your ability to create loudness comes from frequency and dynamic balance. We're going to watch Jake do that today. And clarity also comes from frequency and dynamic balance. So let's watch for that today. Obviously, we'll, come to one of our Fix the Mix events or come work with us or something if you want to learn how to do that at a high level. But that's really the name of the game. Enhancing emotion. There's a lot we can do in mixing, a little less we can do in mastering. Mastering is not about really changing tone, character, or movement. But in mixing, we have the ability through things like just EQ, saturation, compression, to shape the tone, character, and movement. And as mix engineers, here, I froze myself again. I hate when I do that because it makes me look weird.
I like it.
No.
He's back.
Nope.
What you'll learn is that there's this emotion behind what the producer is trying to do, or if it's your own material that you've been trying to do in the production phase of things, that can be enhanced by understanding how even just very basic tools work. You can tone, shape, you can enhance character, and you can bring out the kind of movement or pull back the kind of movement and shape it exactly how you want to enhance emotion. And that's what it's all about. When it comes to sync, we're always doing this in mixing and mastering. That's why I say it's not different than any normal thing. But being in tuned, it's not a fully technical process. You have to understand the technical. In fact, you have to understand it at such a high level that you don't have to think about it, so that when you're actually mixing and mastering, what you can do is dive in and really just focus on the emotion and how to shape if you're thinking about it too much, you can't really be in tune with that as much. There's like this flow state that comes when you're really in tune with it that you have to get to. And so it's about becoming really proficient with your tools to understand how to enhance tone, character, and movement within a song. And then there's telling a story. and it's a concept I talk a lot about even with our students, that every song is an experience for the listener. And there's different parts. There's the supporting cast, and then there's the thing you want people to listen to. And that's demonstrated hopefully by this picture. Where do your eyes first go? Maybe the flag, but probably that guy. And then you start to see everyone else, and they're the support behind it. And when we talk about, and it really comes back to the same concept, frequency control and dynamic control. What we're trying to do is keep the listener focused on what we want the listener to focus on as we go through. We don't want anything that distracts the listener away from the focal point, and we don't want the focal point to be distracting in and of itself. So what I mean by this is, through shaping and balancing frequencies and dynamics, we actually accomplish this or we don't accomplish this. You could think of all the background instruments, for example, in a mix, the supporting parts, the things you don't want them listening to, as needing to be very controlled and consistent. If you're mixing something and your snares or your kicks or a guitar strum is for some reason much louder than the rest of it, or has this frequency that's shrilling through or distracting away, the ear goes to it. So that's when I talk about dynamic consistency and control. We're taming the background instruments to be dynamically controlled so the ear is never distracted away from anything that they don't want it to be. I'm frozen again. And in terms of frequencies, everything's balanced so the ear isn't distracted away by some muddy frequency or some shrill thing or some resonant frequency that distracts the ear. And then the ear starts to pay attention. And this is where we can, for lack of a better word, manipulate. And I don't mean that like a bad way. We manipulate our audience to feel certain emotions by taking them on a journey, by directing their ears where we want it to go, to have ultimate impact, that people are dialed in and really focused on what we want them to be focused on. And then if we build the emotion into that element, that's what they're hearing, and it's ultimate impact of the emotion. Does that make sense to everybody? I'm gonna unfreeze myself again. Nope. No. I gotta close this window. And all of this, and none of this is rocket science. Okay. I think a lot of people think I can't get my stuff really good because I don't have this fancy plugin or this suite of things, or, you know, there's some tips and tricks I don't know. It's really not about that. The way we teach our students in our program is very foundational. We actually teach it in reverse. We start with mastering so people can have an end in mind perspective. But ultimately, if you're not worried about that graphic there, what we're doing is what I was speaking of earlier, which is developing left-brain instincts, technical instincts. Because what I've found time and time again with working with people is when those technical instincts, when you don't have to think about which knob to turn or plugin to use, it unlocks something in the right brain that's very powerful for people. And we can spend our time focusing on emotion and thinking less about what we're doing. Whether we're mixing, whether we're producing, it doesn't matter. It's all connected together. And so you have to, I think, to work at the speed, especially that we're talking about here, it just has to become instinctual. But those left-brained instincts don't come through a fancy plugin or some special technique that you don't know. It's really pretty basic stuff. It's mastery over hearing frequencies and dynamics at a high level, and then using EQ and EQ tools and compression type tools to control everything. When you watch Jake mix, you'll find he's not doing anything fancy. He's just a master at using those tools quite, on a really special level, I think, actually. So don't think it's unattainable. I'm not saying it's easy. It takes work to get that instinct, but it's good to know that it's not like some crazy thing that you're never going to be able to do. If you put the time into getting the ears to hear it and to understand it and to understand those tools at a deep level, you can develop those instincts. And when that happens, everything changes for you. And that's part of becoming that kind of person, right? That someone can trust because they know it's going to sound great and be emotionally on point. Any questions on those concepts? I know it's not technical, but they are the things to focus on. Any questions on any of that stuff?
It's such a huge piece. I just want to reiterate the concept that you just stated, Caleb, and that we've talked about over the past 2 days of unlocking the creativity with the mastery of the objective and technical pieces. It's a game changer.
I love some of these questions. Is it do you still want to get it right at the source? And it's tied in with the next question, you believe it or not. Shouldn't it be going the other direction, subjective into objective? No, and I'll tell you why. Mastering is the most left-brained objective part of the whole process, and it teaches you those objective tools at a deeper level than anything else will. But it also gives you a keen insight into the end of the process. There's something mastering engineers start to learn as they master and master more tracks. And it's all the stuff that people do in the capture, right? Get it right at the source, or in the production process, or in the mixing process that make mastering hard to do. It is a culmination of everything that's been done in this moment where you kind of apply that last limiter at the end of mastering to bring it up to industry standard, and it either works or it doesn't based on everything that's been done up to that point, which is incredibly valuable information because for us, what that allows us to do is to reverse engineer the process. I know what stuff I'm doing in mixing that's causing me problems at the end. I know what stuff I'm doing at the source and in my production and in my recording that's causing me problems through the rest of the process, and especially in the last part. That perspective is invaluable, but you don't know it until you've actually got your hands dirty and got in there and tried to master stuff at a high level, and you realize there's just some stuff you can't fix. There's stuff that just needed to be fixed earlier on that you just can't now, and now we can't bring it up to the industry standard volume, or we can't get the clarity we really want, and now we're stuck. The mistakes have already been made. It's baked in. So that, to reverse engineer that whole process, great. I'm glad that makes sense, Harry, because that was your question, is incredibly important. And that's why it's kind of revolutionized the way people are learning. Any other questions? The more you do it, the better you become, for sure. 100%. Yeah, don't shoot for the low bar, Nigel. Shoot for the high bar. AI mastering isn't good. It's not good enough for this. If you learn to do it yourself, you'll make better masters. But again, the important part isn't mastering itself. It's the process of learning mastering so you understand the end of the process so you can reverse engineer everything you're doing. Reverbs don't necessarily have to disturb mastering. Nope. Okay. I know that's not technical, and I just talked a lot about technical, but that's beyond the scope of what we can do in this short time that we have for mixing and mastering today. You will get some technical stuff from Jake, but again, come to one of our Fix the Mix events if you want to go deeper on the technical side. But you, one way or another, that's part of what you need to do. And it's part of becoming that trust figure for these people that you want to work with. With that being said, it's almost demo time. If you're new to these webinars, you know that this is my time to get on a little soapbox for 5-10 minutes and talk to you about what we do at mastering.com. It's not a sales pitch. It's information, and you can take with it what you want or leave it. But I always get a lot of questions about what we do. And we also want to make a special announcement about something we've been working on for a while that we're really excited about. That is a new program that we're about to offer to all of you today that I'm pretty excited about. But if you don't know us, what is the mission of our audio school? First and foremost, we do believe in bringing a ton of free value to our communities. We do a lot of really long, great YouTube videos. We do a lot of free courses, and we do these events, and we love to give back a lot. And we want to give you as much as we possibly can in terms of just information. We don't hold back on any of these things that we do. Obviously, they're limited in time, but we do have a lot of stuff that's free that you can watch on our YouTube and different places. We believe in that. It's not That really is about the community aspect. And you'll find that everyone that's on this team that helped create this company, we decided, we want to be a very ethical company. We want to give back a lot. We feel like there's not enough support for musicians in the industry, that too many people are feeling like they're on an island. We want to create communities so people can come together as things have democratized and decentralized from large studios to our individual basements and small studios. There's this sense of being alone and being on an island that we want to be a part of finding a solution for, and bringing people together, bringing people into these communities, these webinars, that type of stuff is really, really important to us. We also want to earn your trust instead of expect it. We're not going to be someone who says, send some ad out that says sign up for this thing and you don't know what it is. We want you to come and experience who we are. We want you to see how we teach. We want you to see our passion, and we want to earn your trust. We know that who you go and learn from is a big decision, and you have a lot of opportunities. And first and foremost, go and learn, whether with us or not. You should learn, and you should always continue to learn, because it's essential to keeping up with the pace of this industry. But as for what we want to be and what we want to do, we would rather earn your trust than just expect it. Okay. We also want to provide, so we give a lot of the content in our free stuff. The thing we can't give for free, because you have to pay people to do mentorship, is direct mentorship. So a lot of our programs is really based around getting that one-on-one time, that direct mentorship. Our curriculums are incredible. They go a lot deeper, obviously, than we can do on a webinar. The communities are much deeper because you're working with people that are really going for this. And so you get that community aspect. But mentorship is really important, and it's something that, I personally had, I know Jake's had. I don't know if you've done a lot of mentorship in the past, Rob, but there's so much value in it. I didn't do it enough early in my career. I was a little egotistical, I guess. I didn't think I needed it. But when I started to do it, it really changed my whole game to get that one-on-one time. So our programs we do offer are, based around getting really direct one-on-one mentorship. And then we also want to solve problems with engineer and producer mindsets, and with audio education in general. And I want to talk about those last two for a minute. What are the problems we're trying to solve, both in terms of engineer and producer mindsets and audio education in general? And I'll even talk specifically today about the sync world. There's a lot of mindsets that have to do with engineers and producers in general. These ones have to do with sync. I was talking to Rob this morning. What are the common things that you hear that we could solve here? Number one, I don't have any existing relationships, so I can't break in. Anyone ever feel that way?
I have.
Yeah.
I know it can feel that way. I know it can feel like there's gatekeepers keeping all this stuff, and maybe there's a few, but it's not been my experience that when someone's ready and they're skilled, that they don't find an opportunity. It just seems to happen for them when they're ready.
I agree. And on the gatekeeping part, I think a big misconception about the sync space is that it's so mysterious and nobody knows what goes on behind the curtain and how does it work. And again, that just supports what we've been talking about here in learning the craft, learning about what you're working towards, and then it all just starts to make more sense. Then you're able to start to better understand the process and where you fit in.
If it's the closest thing to like some cosmic force or magic that I've ever known. It just seems when people are ready, stuff finds them. And I'm not a hyper religious person or anything, but I do find that to just be true. I just find that time and time again. The second one is imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. My stuff's not good enough. I think it's easy to feel that way. And it's not that, I always want to be better. It's not that you shouldn't always be pushing to be better, but if your mindset is one of a limiting belief that stops you from continuing to learn or continuing to try, that's a problem. You should always be pushing yourself for more, but imposter syndrome sucks that life force out of us. It stops us from continuing on, and it stops us from learning.
Yeah.
And that's a mindset we really just keep.
As you unfreeze, just to point out with the imposter syndrome element of it, right? It's the mindset shift of, like Caleb saying, wanting to improve. So when you feel that I'm not good enough, not letting it stop you from learning, like Caleb saying, using that as a catalyst to propel you forward and get really hungry to level up to do even better.
Yeah, that has to turn into passion. You have to
Yeah.
get hungrier, and you'll always see limitations. I see them every day as well. I got it on video me. All right. The next one, I'm too old. A lot of people think I'm too old to get into this. Some of our most successful students have actually been older ones. I love to see that. I can't write classical music. You don't need to. There's all types of genres. I don't write classical music myself. And to Rob's point, and I mentioned this yesterday as well, some of my more generic licensing music has been licensed, but my biggest license ever with Coke was a weird track that wasn't for licensing. It was just a band I was working with, and it was weird, but it also had the little millennial whoop in there that was really hot at the time, and it got picked up.
Okay? Yeah.
I produce very specific genres, so there's no place for me. That's not true. You can carve out a niche or you can expand what you do. Either one will work, and you can lean into it. I don't make music for sync, so I'm not good for sync. Again, my largest license ever, the Coke ad I got, was a track that was not meant for sync. I just happened to pitch it, and it got the Coke. You can use your material. You can make music you love, and there are cases that'll work. And then if you make some for sync too, or if you have a sync mindset with some stuff, that helps as well. I think my music is better than everything I hear on TV. It's not fair. No victim mindsets. I promise you.
Yeah, get that right out of here.
I promise when you're ready, opportunities find you. And I'm here and I'm passionate about helping people get to the level, not only where they break down the walls that would stop them, this ego wall or something like that, but to have confidence, true confidence in what they're doing and mastery over the tools that help them get there. And that's what it's really about at the end of the day. Oops. Struggling on the PowerPoint today.
All right, dude, you haven't done enough of these. That's all.
Yeah, I never do these. Here's the truth bomb for all of that. Anyone can make it in the sync industry if they learn to become highly emotionally attuned, learn to express emotion through music, and learn to make their music sound professional. And it takes work, but any of you can do it. There's none of you that can't do that right now and start doing sync. I promise you that's true. I've seen people go from not being able to do it to being able to do it. I've seen the process. It's not magic, it's work. And those are the things to focus on, which is why I loved Rob's presentation and what he chose to focus on over the last 3 days, because that's 100% it. And if you're willing to put the work in and you're willing to be passionate, I promise you can do this. You just have to want it. But education is hard. There's problems with the current education options. Skip this slide. So what education problems are we solving? The truth is that things have shifted away so much in the last 20 years from how it used to be. For a long time, things used to be working on a big console in a large studio, and there were engineers that trained for that, and that's how you got in. And if you could get an internship, maybe you were good enough to make enough coffee for the producers that someday they would give you a chance to sit in the room. And then maybe you sat in the room, one day you could turn a knob and someone was sick that day and you step in and you wow somebody. I mean, that's just kind of how it worked. And you had to put the time in to learn the studio and learn the board. And all the programs that existed and still exist for some reason, like so many of them, are still trying to educate people how to do that. And there's not very many that educate people how to do this themselves from their home. And it's because the speed of the industry is moving so fast that a lot of these more red tape programs that have, I don't know if you know much about certification or different things like that, but it can take years to change curriculums sometimes in these places. There's no way to keep up with the industry. I'm not even trying to bag on them. It's impossible for them to keep up. And yet they're charging 30, 40, 50, $100,000 to come do this stuff. And I've had friends do that. I literally have had 3 or 4 friends who've done these programs, who are still paying off student loans for it, who never got a job at one of those studios. They got an internship coming out, they made some coffee, and then they were back to working a desk job. And now they're paying. I mean, that's crazy. It's just not in tune with the modern producer or what's happening right now at all. And so we're filling that space and filling that need. Not just courses, not just mini courses, and not just some curriculum you come in and you don't get support, but university level type mentorship and education done from wherever you are and built to be around your schedule. YouTube is becoming less and less helpful, and this is causing a mindset problem for people. It's not that there's not good YouTube content out there, it's that it becomes hard to find because of the algorithms. YouTube algorithms support things that are clickbaity. That's how you beat the system. If you put a picture of a hot girl on there or something, or some fanciful wow face or some exploding head, and then the title says 5 tips and tricks to change your whole life and you'll, make $1 million and win a Grammy. That's the stuff that moves up the algorithm. And so we go into these videos and we see these tips and tricks, but that's not the stuff that gets you there. It's not tips or tricks or the next plugin or the next, outline or preset or whatever else they're selling that will get you there. It's the foundation I'm talking about. Real mastery over the foundational tools of shaping sound and audio. When that becomes an instinct for you, you can do anything you want to. Those tips and tricks don't get you there. And so what I see is a lot of people get to this because they can teach you a little bit, but it gets to this intermediate plateau where all your foundation is crumbling because it's all built on tips and tricks and presets, and you don't really understand the very core of it. And you can't get past this kind of plateau of intermediate mediocrity, and it gets frustrating. And we have these ideas that come into our head, these beautiful visions of what we want to create, and yet what's coming out of the speaker doesn't connect with that. Our technical skill isn't up to our creativity at some point, and the sounds we have in our head don't come out of the speakers. And that's a problem. We have to give up on the tips and tricks. We have to give up on the quick fix. We're like almost becoming a quick fix society where everything needs to become easy. It's not easy. It's hard work just like anything else is. Building any company, building any profession or career or skill is hard work and has to be driven by passion. It won't be fixed by a 5-minute YouTube video. It's just not how it works. So we're very much anti that. We're very much all about the work. So with that being said, drum roll, I want to announce our newest little creation here. We're going to do a 6 weeks intensive mentorship program for Sync based on the quality that you expect from mastering.com. If you know who we are, you know that we create great programs. This is a mentorship program. You'll be working directly with Rob Shoestack and myself.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's right.
I noticed I kind of just said "and myself" really quietly because I know you're here for Rob. Man with this stuff. Sync 101. We've done like a few 101 programs, from our other 101 programs. They're actually more like 202 programs, but you can be a 101. They go pretty far and it's pretty intensive. 6-week intensive mentorship program for Creative Sync. It's something we've kind of always wanted to do. It's something that there's not a lot of good information out there for. So we're filling a gap, giving good information and giving you a chance to get real feedback, real critique, real mentorship with the best that we know. So excited for Sync 101. What's this program all about? 6 weeks Sync licensing intensive, modern in-depth training curriculum. You're going to go through quite a few modules of information. I'll talk about that in a second. And then direct 101 mentorship. I think it'll be 3 times a week that you can hop on and have one-on-one time. So there's lots of opportunity for one-on-one mentorship, feedback. And it's not like what we're doing here with the webinar. It's not a chat thing. You're unmuting. It's your voice. It's my voice. You can share your DAW. We're diving into your song. You know, we're looking at your plugins, your system. I can open up my DOS, show you stuff. It's real mentorship, over the shoulder type stuff. And that's what we're all about. You get to be a part of a community of learners. Glad I put a period on that one and not the rest of them. That's cool. I'm a director of education. That's awesome. Community of
Details.
learners. Details. Community of learners. So you're going to be doing this as a cohort. It's all going to start together. So you're going to have a bunch of people to go through this with and to connect with and to learn from and to you know, interact with and start companies with and make friends. And we really believe in that whole community aspect as well. And then for some of you, if you're really, really serious about it, there's an opportunity to continue on with mastering.com if needed into our full TRE reverse engineer program. You've seen people talking about that. And all the cost of this 6-week program can actually be applied to the full program if you decide to go forward. You'll get a ton out of this, and maybe it'll be enough and awesome. It's almost like another layer of getting to know us at a much cheaper price point than the full program. You're getting to know us now. This will be more in depth in terms of mentorship. And then if you still trust us and you love the way we do things and want to go really deep dive on the technical part, mixing, mastering, and production, then there's an opportunity to do that as well. And you'll be primed for that because of this program. What's in the curriculum? Sync mindsets is huge. How to prepare for the industry, how to navigate the industry. So much, though, about the creative sync production. It's got to be about creativity. It's got to be about that emotion. Yes, all that preparing and navigating the industry is great, but if you don't have number 4, good luck. It's probably not going to happen for you. It has to become something you get great at. And then we'll also get into this entry-level mix and mastering for sync. We'll go deeper into that than even we're doing today, and hopefully that's enough for you. But then again, if you really want to go farther, you can come work with us or somebody else to go farther with that. What's the goal? Really, the goal for me in anything we do is overcoming fear and giving you confidence. I want you to feel by the end of 6 weeks confident to move forward in the industry, or at least knowing what you need to learn or continue to learn to move forward in the industry. That's really what it's all about. And confidence either way. I know what I need to learn, or I'm ready to go. 100%, that's where I want to get you to in 6 weeks. And I'm sure we can do that with the amount of kind of attention you'll get here. Meet your mentors. Put an S on there. Mr. Rob and myself, both quite sexy pictures. Ooh, just really good. We're going to be working with you one-on-one and directly. Again, we have, our experience in the industry, and looking forward to working with all of you. And I want to just briefly talk about this. It's not part of this 6-week intensive, but if you do continue on and work with us in the reverse engineer, then you also get access to something that we've started pretty recently, but a little while ago now, a company called SoundFloss. And so what we decided to do, and what we started building about a year ago, are opportunities for our students. It wasn't enough to just educate. We wanted to give real world opportunities for our students. SoundFloss is our sync licensing company. And we've partnered with a ton of other agencies and brands and different people to provide opportunities for our students. And the coolest part is we don't take any of the money from that. We pass that 100% down to the student. We're not here to make money as a sync licensing company. We're educators. That's what we care about. We just want to provide opportunities for our students who work hard, and we have it be an extension of the reverse engineer, because there's certain certifications and process that go through the reverse engineer. But by the time you're done, you're ready, at least on a mixed mastering and production level, to do what's necessary to wow people within the industry. And just a really cool little thing. I just actually found out about this yesterday. We only just kind of started this. I said we've been building it for a while, but we've only just kind of launched this a few months ago. We actually just had our first 2 opportunities come in. One was with Toyota and one was with Uber. We just found out yesterday that we likely got both. We're for sure on the Toyota, and we're in the very final for the Uber, and it's incredible. Our students literally got these the first ones we tried to do, they were ready. We had them ready. They pitched for these things, and they're going to get, the money that comes from that, and the you know, like the credits for this, which is so cool. We're so stoked. Our first 2 attempts at doing this with our students, getting them ready and having them do it, have paid off. And I'm sure that won't always be the case, but there is something powerful about, I mean, these companies that are partnering with us for that really trust us because they know we've put these people through a process. So there's a level of trust already built in with what we're able to offer people, right? That's the foot in the door. We're saying you can trust us because these people are certified through mastering.com to be great at what they do. And so there's built-in trust that's huge. And really just super stoked. Rob told me about that yesterday, and I was just like jumping up and down and being, it's just awesome that it's already working, and there's going to be so much more of that. So if you do continue on with us and do the reverse engineer, there's opportunities if you want to continue on and work with us there. And not to brag, we do create great programs. We're really known for this. Our name's getting around. We have a crazy amount of people getting referred to us from universities, from Berkeley, from schools in Australia the other day. People are saying, go work with these guys. Our students love it. We always try to go above and beyond. We always try to give as much as we can. We're very passionate about this. Our curriculums are great, and our mentorship is even better. And, you know, I hope you feel, even just in talking to us for the last few days, that we're people that you resonate with and that you trust, and you can feel comfortable and just come in and work your butt off and get really good at this stuff. And if that's not enough for this Sync 101, if you complete the program, you don't feel like we prepared you to start the journey or feel confident to move forward, we'll just refund you. It's no problem. We're really confident that we can give you a great experience here. So if you don't have a great experience or something happens in your life, that you complete the program and things aren't going to work for you, we can just do a 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked. We're confident in ourselves. It's not magic though. I'm not selling you snake oil. Again, it's hard work. You have to be passionate about this to come work with us, just like you would within anything you're ever going to do at a high level. There's no one that got to a high level at anything in the world without being incredibly passionate and working hard. But if that is you, if you're the person who just hasn't found a direction to push that hard work and passion through, a way to learn at that level, if you've been looking for something like this, I'm certainly talking to you. If you're not there yet and it's just a hobby and you're just kind of having fun, no worries. Keep coming to our free events, all that stuff. But for those of you who have that voice saying you need to invest in yourself, you need to work hard and believe in yourself and overcome this imposter syndrome and really go for it, I'm talking to you. You have to listen to those voices sometime or they go away. Because there's always a duality in our minds. One speaking fear of what we shouldn't do, and one speaking love of what we should do. And your love for music and your love for yourself and the things you're passionate about, if you stop listening to the voice that tells you that stuff, sometimes it stops talking or it speaks quietly. So if it is you, we'd love to have a conversation with you about moving forward with this, and, you know, take a chance on yourself if it's a good fit for you. If you like us and you're looking for something like this, believe in yourself and come work with us. So here's how it works. Pretty straightforward. Oh, I also just kind of did a quick peruse on the internet today, found a few other options. I just always like to show the value. We know we're kind of the best with this stuff, but you could spend a lot more than we're going to charge. $3,000 for a 3-day masterclass, low-level mentorship there, 3 credits at universities, $600 to $1,200. There was a 4 30-minute sessions a month mentorship that was $750. Yeah, you're going to get a lot more than that here. We're going to do $499 on this one. It's a pretty no-brainer. And again, tuition can be applied to the reverse engineer if you decide to move forward with the whole program. So the 6 weeks, $499, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We have the value, we have the swagger, we have the mentors. Now it's just for you. It's pretty simple. You don't need to talk to us. A lot of times for the bigger programs, we want to have a conversation with you, make sure it's a good fit. I think you'll know if this is a good fit for you. So you can just go click the link, sign up, mastering.com/sync101. You can do that right now. Oh, come back. Enrollment closes May 10th. Enrollment closes May 10th. And the cohort starts May 13th. So again, you'll be working through everything with a cohort of people. Enrollment closes the 10th of May, so we can start all together with an orientation and really dive in May 13th. Pretty excited. If it's for you, it's good. Let me just share this and we can answer any questions you have really quick.
I'm also spamming the link for you guys in the chat for those of you who want to book the call.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. But if any of you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those right now. Just pretty excited about this.
Yeah, not sure if there's going to be another one. We just don't know yet.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
It's always about how well it goes.
What's the time commitment look like?
Yeah, so we do build these to be around your schedule. You can put as much time as you want into it, but at a minimum to get through it in the 6 weeks, I would say like an hour a day, hour and a half a day would get you there. If you can do more, even better. 9 days to find $4.99. Oh, and I should add, you can also do 2 payments. You can split it in half.
Is there any extra,
Or
or is it like straight down the middle?
So I don't know. It says it on the checkout there.
So
Yeah,
just
maybe an extra 100.
a couple of questions popping up that I just wanted to address. Kenny was asking, can you compare this to being in taxi? So taxis, this is different than being in taxi and just saying, hey, send me some briefs and I'm going to take a crack at it and you tell me if I got it or not. Right? This is truly, like we spoke about earlier, moving beyond just kind of surface level stuff and saying, hey, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and see what happens. This is about learning how to actually do it so you win more opportunities for those briefs that might be coming in from other places, right? And so you can form these relationships and go out and find these opportunities yourself. It's about learning how to actually do this, right? So it's not super like this is a brief generator, but we walk through lots of creative projects and we do it all together the same way we do it for full briefs, right? You're getting all of these actual briefs and we're walking through them together, right? Based on real projects. But to answer your question, it's not just throwing a bunch of briefs at you and saying, hey, submit for them and we'll figure it out. This is about learning how to do this. This is about really committing to saying like, hey, this is something that I want to try to build a career around. This is something that I really feel passionately about and I want to do this. I want to understand how to do this. As a supplement to being in taxi, for sure. Right? The goal, like Caleb was saying, is to have you walking out of this 6-week program confident in your ability to nail a brief and to generate more briefs, form relationships, figure out where you can start to have these opportunities coming. And again, full circle, continue the confidence that you can nail them, that you can deliver, and that you're going to be a go-to client or a go-to composer for all these clients.
Couple questions here. Yes, the $4.99 can be applied towards the tuition for the reverse engineer program should you decide to want to do that at some point. 100% you can apply it there. Couple questions. Is this all original content scoring or can licensed music content be applied? Both, just like we've been talking about. It's catalog and custom. It's not about mastering. This is about sync music and creation, though I will get into some mixing and mastering stuff to just kind of get you off the ground there. Skill level can be at 0 for Sync 101. You can start at the beginning.
Sure. some questions about the sync licensing for income, the full elective. That's you have to be in TRE to be a part of that.
Yeah. Devlin, just because we want to make sure you're ready, and we're pitching you to major brands, so we got to go through a whole certification. It's not a gatekeeping thing. It's part of how we're making, it's just providing opportunities for our students who go through. You'll have access to replays if you can't make the live calls. Totally. Jacob, sync license for income course within TRE is similar to this. If you're already in that, you're good.
Oh yeah, the split payment option is 2 payments for $299, right? So if you split it up, there is a little bit of a price increase there.
You teach about contracts and amount you can expect to charge for services. Totally. And you can bring any questions you have with any of that stuff to mentorship calls.
So, and yeah, just to address that, right? Those are things we can absolutely address. If you have specific questions, let's tackle those. And we cover basics of the industry and we get in the weeds of some of that stuff. But the majority of this and what we found in looking for the best options and the best way to teach is there's a lack of resources for how to do it creatively, to really start to learn about that objective and emotional resonance. How do you really do that? And what are the technical and objective ways to achieve that? And that's what we really focus on, how you become that valued, that trusted creative partner, right? You can look up the basics of like, oh, well, what is master versus publishing rights? We can talk about all that, and it's covered. The basics of it are covered in the course as well, right? We wanted to take it beyond that. We wanted to really get hands-on and dirty with the creative so that you feel great about your skills. We don't want all of the other nuance. We don't want you to get stuck in the weeds of, oh, well, I'm not an expert in all this or that quite yet, so I don't know if I can really start to. We got it. Let's dial in your music. This is what you're passionate about. Let's make it amazing.
Yeah, you have access to the coursework lifetime. Linda, hit me up if you want to try to do a PayPal thing. I might be able to help you. How much one-on-one mentoring comes with this? As much as you need. There's 3 opportunities a week to hop on and have one-on-one time, and you can really have as much time as you need. If you are in, access to replays, you can have access to replays. They're all there. For all of you who are already in the reverse engineer, you don't need to do this program. You come through the sync elective we have within the program. That way you can have access to SoundFloss.
Yeah, dad jokes are extra. I'll send you a tip link.
Spamming the link for you guys.
There are a list of learning objectives for the program somewhere. Just the ones I talked about today. I mean, I could break those down more specifically, but it's first really, we're going to go through creative briefs. We're going to break those down together. We're going to show you what they look like. We're going to show you how to approach them. We're going to talk about the creativity, and we're going to just analyze tons and tons of stuff, tons of your music, tons of situations, making sure that emotion and that connection is there or is growing. And then it's the logistical stuff, as well as just the mindsets, right? How do we really approach all this stuff in the real world? It's deeper than we can go in a 3-day webinar, but
Yeah, there'll be replays for anything that you miss.
Yep, we make it really easy. If you need anything, we're there to help you. We want it to be a good experience for you. Our whole company is built around your reviews of us and your excitement about what we're doing. So we try to really over deliver on all that. We're going to start the mixing mastering with Jake in 5 minutes. So I'll give you an opportunity to go check out for those of you who are still doing that. And then I'll just go ahead and answer any other questions you have. In the meantime, we'll start in about 5 minutes.
Answering questions with you.
Yeah, and Taylor, we have a list that we'll give you of connections, but again, none of that matters if the rest isn't in place. It's totally okay to join if you're a beginner. Even if you again, you'll either be ready to go by the end of it to start in the sync world, or you'll know what you need to learn to get there and be very clear about that kind of path forward. No guesswork. The payment option for the split will be, I think, a month apart. I don't think we're capping it. I don't think it'll be a problem. We'll have enough time for everybody. The times will be spread throughout different times throughout the week. And if you can't make them and you have questions, you can always submit questions and we can talk about them, or submit tracks and we can talk about them live, or you can reach out to us in messages and we can talk to you personally that way. There's a ton of access to us. What if we need more time? You can continue on with this in the main thing, or you could take this again, or you'll also get access to the curriculum for life, so you can keep learning that way. We can help you with that, Joey. There's a split option, James, that's on the page there. Who's stoked? Who's excited? Does everyone think this is a good idea? Is this something we should keep doing? Is this helpful? We want to make great products for you, for those of you who are interested in diving deeper. You like it? Cool. We only want to do the best stuff for you. Keep doing this. Okay. How about the one-on-one mentorship per week? Can we make those up? Dan, the way we do it is people hop on at the same times every week, and anyone who has a question, we just take them one by one and we have one-on-one time with them. We do that because other people like to watch other people's questions and learn from them as a community. So there'll be people watching. And if you don't have questions, you can sit in and just watch the questions of other people and learn from them too. It's a better way to learn as a community, but you will have uninterrupted one-on-one time during those slots. And again, if you can't make them, submit questions to us offline or hit us up in messages. We're more than happy to help you.
Yep.
Definitely, this is more
Kenny,
than
the goal is to arm you with the skills that, yep, we can help make those connections with libraries and other companies when you're ready, right? Again, the focus is on building that confidence and the skill set to be ready to present your stuff. So it's not kind of just a shot in the dark and saying, oh, I hope this works out. You feel confident, you understand what you're offering, and you understand the value that you're able to provide.
Thanks, Bridget. Yeah, we love having you in the program. You know, we try hard. I think it's a month apart, Dan. Yeah, you'll have till next Friday to sign up. Again, it closes next Friday, and then we'll start the following Monday. We'll have like an orientation meeting. We'll do a graduation at the end. We'll have a lot of fun in between. But the enrollment closes midnight on next Friday, so the cohort can actually start May 13th. Help with videos, reels, all that stuff. Yeah, we can help you get going with all that stuff. If you need a PayPal option, hit me up. We could probably do that. You can email me at caleb@mastering.com. Happy to give you the email here.
You're frozen again, Caleb.
Of course I am. If you need, if you have questions or anything, if you need to talk to someone about it, or if you need a PayPal thing, hit me up here and I'll see what I can do. I'm not 1,000% sure, but I'm like 999% sure we can do it. Yeah, the next rest of the time we'll be mixing and mastering with Jake. Yep. SyncFest is a high level overview of what's to come for sure. Can we get a refund if Caleb's frozen the whole time? You bet. Oh boy. What do I look like? I'm not even looking at it.
It's cover art.
Thanks, Gene. We love having you. I love our students are always so passionate about us. We love our students. Okay. I have a screen grab of you twisting your stash. Heck yeah. Those two are from New York. I'm from Utah. Really great opportunity. Glad. Yeah, we want to give you opportunities. We know there are those of you who are looking for more, and I just want to give you the best option available to come do this stuff. See you the 13th, right on. Who's signing up? One's in chat. Enrique.
Sweet.
Is there a cap on this one?
No, I don't think it'll be a problem.
Sweet. And open until 10th of May. So you can enroll until the 10th of May.
Yep.
Somebody was asking.
We'll make sure. I don't think it'll be a problem. If I don't want to discourage people from signing up, and we'll always do what it takes. If more people join, we'll just make sure there's more mentorship. We'll just find a way to accommodate everyone to have as much time as they need. Cool.
Again, we hope to do this again, but we're just not sure. We're not sure yet.
Yeah, if people like it, people usually do. We'll probably do it again, but we just don't know. We only want to do what's really best. We only have time. We're really dedicated on everything we do. So I told a bad chemistry joke once. I got no reaction. My man. See,
Solid.
that's better than Jake's.
Solid.
Is there a better when it comes to dad jokes?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely in Utah. Cool.
Effectively.
Beautiful place for sure. Caleb at mastering.com. Yep. Better equals worse. Who's ready for some mixing and mastering? Hey, thanks for letting me, I love to talk about this stuff. I'm very passionate about this. Thanks for letting me take, 20 minutes of your time and talk to you about our program and what we're doing. And if it's for you, great. If not, totally fine. Keep coming back. Keep on our YouTube channel. Keep learning from other people. It's totally fine. I'm an educator. I want you to learn. I want you to be happy. I want you to feel confident and get the skills to be successful and do the things you love. So one way or another, do that. But for those of you who are coming in, welcome. I'm excited to work with you in about a week. I love this. All right, Jake.
Yes.
Thanks, Pete. That's a nice compliment. See you soon, John. Rock and roll.
Yeah, let's jump in. Let's jump into the DAW. We want to do some mixing and mastering today, guys?
I do.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
Who wants to do some mixing and mastering? Give me a 233,926 in the chat if you're with me. If you're in. Well done.
I'll be back, y'all. I'll take a break.
You do that. We'll miss you. All right, give me a second, guys. I'm going to set up my screen sharing.
Awesome.
Can you see my screen?
We can see it.
Sweet. Okay. I've got like the little floaty window now of all of our faces. So I got to move that onto my other monitor. Okay. Got that done there.
Floaty faces away.
Look at this empty session. There is nothing going on here except for on the stereo out. I have some like metering plugins. I've got reference from mastering the mix. I've got a Paz analyzer, and I've got a Mott meter to measure loudness. Now, we're going to talk about those things, but we're not going to go super in depth on this stuff today, guys. So if you have questions while we're kind of going through this stuff, write them down. You can Google them later, you can YouTube them later, or you can watch one of the Fix the Mix of replays or events, or show up to the next one and we'll hang there. Okay. You'll get a little bit more kind of in depth. But right now, here's the lay of the land. We've got all of the multi-tracks laid out here, and all I did was just drag and drop them into the session. Let's start by just taking a listen. You guys hear that?
Yep.
Give me a 1 in the chat if you can hear. Yeah. All right. Oh, nope. Yeah, super tense. Ooh. Ugh, right? That's what I'm feeling. Ugh.
Yep. Got everyone's saying got the intensity, feeling that kind of John Wick vibes, right?
Yep,
Yes.
totally. Cool. Really awesome. Yeah, so when it comes to sync, I break a lot of rules. Just because we have to like move fast. So for those of you that are used to the fix the mix like style and like process, this is going to be very different than that. Just because we have to work for speed here, right? So honestly, with a track like this, and a producer as good as Julia, who like was very intentional with volume levels when it comes to this thing, there is an obvious like peak and jump in volume here. But it's very intentional, right? Like there was a reason why that hits so loud. So it's not like this whole, I'm not going to go through and like gain stage everything. I want to maintain this level. Like I want to maintain the balance, the volume balance that we have with this instrumentation here. I'm not going to touch any of that stuff. So first thing I am going to do here is just kind of organize a little bit so that we know what we're kind of working with and we can kind of move quickly here. And I'm going to break up these sounds into the best kind of like categories. I'm just going to do this very quickly. Let's see what we got. We're just going to kind of explore these things, get the lay of the land here. Okay. That's like, it's like a pad. What's this? Yeah, that's like a sound effect. I'll explain these moves in a sec. It's like a pad. Yep, that's an impact. Cool. I don't know how I'm going to categorize that yet. I'm just going to start as like a low end element, and I might categorize that differently. Who knows? Okay, swells. I'm going to call that a sound effect.
Just want to point out as Jake's doing this, right, and going through and listening, he's figuring out how each one plays a role, right? What is their role? What is their position? And it's just helping him to organize it so he can make some better creative decisions about how they should live, what they should sound like, how they work with each other.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Yeah, that's like a pattern atmosphere, more of an atmosphere element. So like I'm thinking in terms of like, this would be a pattern atmosphere. Kind of like drones, right? These kind of things, right? All kind of like gooey kind of atmosphere kind of stuff. There's that string. Same thing there. Probably this drone. Yep, totally. I would categorize that. See what this trem strings. Probably mostly. Just kind of hiding, tucked away down there. I'd put that as a drone or an atmosphere. Now there's some rhythm. I would put that as atmosphere. We can change any of these later also. I can tell you right now, those are toms. It's transient heavy material. I don't even have to listen to that. That one, same thing. I don't have to listen to that. I do it anyway. Breath. Cool. Yeah. I'm just gonna I don't know whether to do that as rhythm or sound effect yet. We'll see. Interesting. I don't know what to do with that yet. I'm gonna put it right now. I'm just gonna plug it in as a lead. Yeah, this is atmosphere. This piano. I'm thinking to myself that like those piano parts, an editor might want access to separately in a stem. So I'm thinking about what might be useful in that scenario. And I'm thinking right now I might break out those piano parts to be separate from the other atmosphere parts. We'll see. Oh, that's a rhythm. Yep, sound effect. Those vocals.
So Julia uses a lot of voice as instrument. That I think is actually a Spitfire instrument.
Interesting. Almost sounds like it's a vocal. It's cool. Oh, here's some vocals.
Yeah, she recorded those.
Yeah, I'm gonna tease that out as a lead, in case somebody wants to play with it.
Yeah, that's Julia. She was talking about how she kind of like created this nice bend. It corresponds with the scene where you see or one of the characters
Like turning or like
totally.
Yeah, like reveal moment. Yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, so if I were mixing this in the context of the scene, I would want to have control over that sound. I would want that to be a stem that's accessible to me as an editor so that I could play with the volume level of that. So I'm thinking tease that out separately as a separate stem. And that's it. That's what we got. Now let's just kind of organize these. And the order. Awesome. Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful. Okay. Boom. We've got, I'm just going to call this atmosphere. We've got some effects. Just going to call these SFX.
Just to point out, as Jake's doing this, everyone, right, just getting organized, doing the more technical side of things, making sure that he understands, has his arms wrapped around the objective use of each of these sounds, right? So then he has the creative freedom to start doing what's necessary to focus in on the emotion and really dial that in.
Totally. Exactly right.
And it's pretty.
And it's pretty. I always like to use a pretty rainbow color scheme.
I'm with you. It's
You know?
a thing of beauty.
Okay. That's it. Let's see where this mix is just like sitting. So and normally I would gain when I gain stage things for projects. I'm normalizing all the tracks to like -10 peak, right? But I want to maintain the volume balance here, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to take the hottest track and I'm going to just bring everything down based on setting the hottest track at -10 decibels. That'll give us enough headroom to kind of work with here. It's probably this. You know, that's peaking at -6, or these toms. Peaking at -7, or let's just take a quick dive in here. Like this is pretty chunky. I think it's probably this part right here, though.
Right.
Which was at -6, yeah. So I'm just gonna take everything. I'm gonna select everything and just bring everything down 6 decibels. Now, when we play that loudest section of the song, let's see what we got. Yeah, so now peaking at -6 decibels on the master at the loudest point. Sweet. So now we've effectively kind of like gain staged this whole thing. And we're sitting in a place where we got 6 decibels of headroom right here. So we're not in danger of clipping that stereo out. We're not in danger of clipping that at all. We're good. Sweet. At this point, I'm thinking to myself, what needs to be fixed? What needs to be fixed here in terms of frequencies, in terms of dynamics? I tend to allow these kind of tracks for sync, depending on what it's for, but this is like more on the scoring side of things, and it's more on the tension side of things. So it's important that the dynamic range be intact here, because that's part of those swells of volume. That's all part of creating that those tense moments. And that's part of leaning into the emotion of this track, right? So I'm not going to go through here and like compress every single track or clip every single track or limit a whole bunch of stuff to like narrow the dynamic range necessarily. I think that needs to be there, right? And if we want to lean into that emotion. So for me, it's probably more about frequencies. And as we were doing that first listen through, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, okay, we've got some moments where there's low end kind of build up happening here. Some maybe low mids need to be controlled a little bit. So there's also this area here. It's kind of like a ramp up and then a stop. I thought I heard something funky there. I guess not. Gotta be honest, I'm pretty okay with a lot of that. Let's pull in a couple of references, just see where we're standing here. And we said Ozark, right?
Yep. Julia's worked on some Ozark stuff. It's, it's very kind of dark, very not quite muted, but or subdued, but there's a thickness, a stickiness, a impactfulness in the darkness, right? It's not smeared. It's not totally ambient. Still dark, but it's got some bite to it.
Let's find something on Spotify. I'm just using my other screen to find something on Spotify here.
And reference tracks, Sable, I see you asking about that. It's important that we're creating, we're mixing, we're making moves, not in a vacuum, right? We understand what we're working towards. We're understanding, kind of like we talked about earlier today, there are clues left for us, right? Especially in references. What's working? This is out there and this is resonating with us and with an audience for a reason. What is it about that? So we can use references to listen for some of those clues: volume balance, EQ balance, dynamics, all the things that Jake is talking about here. And again, just to state, this is a very quick and dirty version of it, right? We're kind of jumping right in. I highly recommend that you all check out some of the replays of Fix the Mix, the past Fix the Mix events, come to the next Fix the Mix, and really kind of get in the weeds with all of this stuff. But yeah, the references are there to help. Like we talked about the creative North Star, this is the mix North Star. What are we working towards? Are we feeling a similar vibe, a similar emotion? So Paul, the initial approach was just organizing the session, splitting things out into different segments, different kind of groupings of sounds, so that Jake could start to kind of wrap his arms around where everything lives and what role they play in the larger piece.
I've got, I'm not really pulling up anything from a score here. Any other suggestions? Maybe composers?
We could do a Hans Zimmer.
Okay, let's see.
In the spirit of Spitfire.
Someone said Tenet. Let's see what we got here. That was Ludwig Göransson. Tenet. Which might be okay. Let's see.
As Jake listens, are any of these tracks samples? So these are all virtual instruments that that Julia used to create this. We're doing it in stereo, Jackie. Right, and again, just something to keep in mind as Jake's listening through to examples, right? We're mixing this more to show how a proper mix can help to enhance the emotional connection more than, hey, here's how you mix for sync. Here's how you mix for film, TV, and advertising, right? This is really about using the mix as a technique for you as producers, you as composers, going in with this kind of secret weapon of making your music more impactful, more emotionally connective, right? This is what this is all about.
Cool. I'm gonna grab this track. Right here. Let's see what else we got. Not that one. Not that one. That one's pretty good. Priya. Sick. And this is really just to get like a lay of the land in terms of frequency balance. Let's see what we got here. All right. So I'm going to drop these into my referencing plugin. Parts I'm concerned with are the really big parts, because that's where I was hearing some buildup, some potential area for buildup. Okay, what are the elements that are creating the most tension here? To me, it's the low end and it's the base, and we have opportunity to kind of pull that up.
Nice.
See it. You know, so now it's a matter of where's that low end happening? You know, there's some stuff in there, great, fine. But I think probably our bass track here, right? Sick. That's great. Yeah. So for me, I'm like, all right, now what tools do I have to enhance the bass? I'm going to play with some stuff. I'm going to go, oh, I don't know. This is like a low end exciter. Just enhance the low end a little bit. Can you hear the difference there? You guys hearing the difference?
Right.
It's like that woofiness, right? That woofy kind of subsonic energy, right? Just really leaning into that. There's a lot of anxiety and
Yes.
tension that happens in that area. And that's honestly, that's what you should be feeling there, right? It's a very tense cue. This is a tension cue. It's so tense. So kind of leaning into that a little bit more and using the low end there. But again, just, I mean, that's the whole point of this demonstration is how we lean into and enhance those emotions. So this is one of those moves that helps do that.
Yeah. Jan says I'm vibrating, right? It resonates with you literally and figuratively.
Yep, totally. That's already like got a lot of low end to it. Maybe there's opportunity there as well, though. And then I'm just gonna look to my reference to see, are we out of bounds here? Are we in bounds? I think we got plenty of room. We got plenty of room to grow there.
Nice.
Sweet.
And just to point out again, right, the listening objectively and understanding how much room do we have so we can get creative and do all the things that we need to do to enhance that emotional connection. But like figuring out where we live in that space objectively, where we're existing, what is our North Star, that's what Jake's doing. This is such a great example of seeing it in action, and so important.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually think this can come up. I'm going to bring this tom up a little bit too. That tom, that boom, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna really lean into the low end on these toms. Same thing with this kick. Now that I've raised the low end of that kick, I need to rebalance it, probably put it right back to where it was. Nice. Really cool. Okay, let's listen through again. I'm going to do the same thing with this and just up the sub information. Use this again. There we go. Hear that rumble now, guys? That's just rumbling now. I'm gonna go back and turn it on and off. Let's go back. There it is. Just a little bit of a messy cutoff here. Did you guys catch that? It was just a quick click. Right? Hear it in the right speaker. That little hiccup. Just cleaning that up.
That won't do.
Won't do it all. Not at all.
No supervisor is going to love that.
Listen to the impact that has now, right? Before we increased the low end, it was like, you know, it kind of came in lackluster. There wasn't that impact and that stress, right? Here's before. And it was just kind of wimpy, right? For lack of a better word. And now I engage all of that low end and listen to the impact of that section. Now it hits much harder. Ooh, 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 ooh. Exactly, Paul. More like the heartbeat, right? And then the heartbeat starts to race faster and faster. So just picking out those elements like Caleb was talking about, the focal points, the pieces of the puzzle that really drive the emotional impact of this track, right? In this case, it's the low end. It's not that case. It's not always the case. But in this case, with this particular track, it's that low end. Cool. I'm gonna pull in just a couple references now. Just do a quick check. Fine. Check out this section. I mean, that reference has a ton more low end. That's cool. Yeah, the high end, I'd probably bring in a few more references from a few more different composers just to double check on the high end. My gut is telling me to roll that off a little bit. On the on a very specific element here. I think it's this. Oh, it's not that. This. There's a little bit of an abrasiveness that's happening here that I might actually just try to take down. I don't want to take it down too much because that's part of the effect, but I think there's a way to smooth it out without it getting fatiguing. Usually get away with a little less high end too, because Foley and dialogue kind of are gonna cover that anyway. Cool. I'm cool with that. Let's get it mastered.
Already?
Already. We're done.
Jeez,
It's all I would do with this track.
Sounds good is good.
Sounds good is good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to blow up everything that the composer did. There's a very specific reason that these volume levels are the way they are. This was composed to visual, right? Like this is a custom comp to a visual. So I'm not going to mess with any of that stuff. Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's a little different than getting tracks from a band.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And also just want to remind everybody, right? This is the biggest takeaway from this is how the mix and the master are going to enhance the emotional impact that Julia has created already, right? It's not necessarily, we're not focusing on this is how you do a mix for film. This is how you're going to dial all that in. This is what the sound effects is. This is about, as you guys are composers, producers, artists, interested in making headway in sync, how do you position your music with the most emotional impact and deliver what you're setting out to deliver with creative intention and emotional intention? The mix is a huge part. So that's the big takeaway, right? Let's see how it really elevates it, and we'll watch in an A/B what it does to the picture.
Cool. I'm just going to start the loudest portion of the track here. Kind of play with some things. Right there. Doom, 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 doom. get a reference there. Cool. So first thing I'm going to do here is actually.
Y'all good, or do you need 2-minute break or anything? Y'all good?
Before we master?
Mm-hmm.
Before we
Good.
get into mastering?
Good. Let me, yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer anyway.
This will
Yeah,
be quick.
we'll have a little bit of a break. Jake's going to send it over to me. I'm going to queue it up to visuals so we can A/B it. So we can take a little break when he sends it over to me, and I can set up that session like a 2-minute break, and then we're home stretch.
Let me drop this in chat really quick then. I have a link for PayPal. If y'all want to check out, I know there was quite a few that wanted to check out via PayPal. So here's the link for that really quick. Just wanted to give that to you before you had to leave.
Cool.
PayPal only does the full payment. They don't allow a split, so that's why it's not on the other page. But there's the link for it. Twitch, Linda, Emmy or Emma. The deadline, Lou, is next Friday. Eva, the panning was already baked in.
Oh yeah, panning was already done. The composer panned everything. Sound design was meticulously done here by the composer. All of that starts at the source. You know, you make those decisions right up front like that. You know, so that you have a good time when you're mixing.
We needed
thank your future self.
Yeah, we needed to enhance it. We would have, but
yeah,
we didn't.
RTM stands for rhythm.
She's kind of one of the best in the biz, so I'm not surprised. But even though Jake didn't have to do a ton, you're going to hear a difference, and it is that 10 or 20%, and you'll hear the difference of what 10 or 20% is that can make all the difference in landing something or not. It really comes down to some of that 10 to 20% stuff that you're able to do.
See how much low end we can save here. Yep. So before I added that this plugin that rolls off the low end, this low end was like way up here, right? And if you notice, the difference is in our references versus our mix, low end was way down here. So now we've just saved all of that like really, really, really subsonic energy. We focused it more in this area and brought it up more in that area, but saved it down here. So that's going to allow us to kind of like push this a little bit louder. You know, I want to tackle this.
Cool. Well, he's a fun. Soothe.
Yeah, for real. That's all I'm gonna really do with this thing.
Really quick, someone was asking about loudness. So he's about to master, and when you
show
start,
you.
you stop worrying about the DBFS, which is the output on your faders, and we start worrying about things called RMS or LUFS. And the thing to take away here, he's going to master it to a certain RMS and LUFS right here, but every platform really has different RMS and LUFS, and they're going to have a particular number that they want you to go to for this stuff. And so you'll just have to be in touch with that and know how to get to all those different numbers. But yeah, everyone's different, and you're going to have to kind of understand that.
That's right. Took that right out. Got it. I'm gonna listen back and forth. Just smoothing that out so we don't wince as much when we hear it. You want to wince a little bit because it's dissonance and it's tension and it's creating anxiety, right? But not to the point where it's like way hotter than the low end, right? There still has to be some kind of balance there, so that you don't alienate people. Now we can get back to master.
Yeah, it also matters a lot. How many of you have been to movies and the sound kind of sounds awful because they turn it up way too much? It's way too loud. I hate it. I've literally complained to my local theaters. Volume down. I'm that guy. Yeah, I'm totally that guy. The local IMAX now plays a little
sound Karen.
Yeah, I'm sound Karen for sure.
Handing out the flyers outside of the theater. Turn down the noise. Turn down the noise.
But since a lot of people are going to turn it up, those little things like that, what Jake did, don't matter when it's really quiet, but when it's really cranked in a huge theater on a huge system, that resonance is drilling into your brain like you're at the dentist.
You will die.
It can take you out of the moment, big time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the dialogues are inaudible. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm imagining like that moment there's a struggle happening.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably Foley happening there and rustling and bodies and stuff like that, right? Just kind of like, yeah.
You are correct, sir.
Yep. I'm going to see what some tape does to just kind of glue this thing together. Not too sure. I think we can get away with even more low end, so I'm going to use 15 ips instead of... Cool. Yep, I'm happy with that. Sounds cool. I'm going to switch it on and off so you can hear what that does. Okay, so it's pretty wild, right? It's
I like that.
It's a feeling, it's a character, right? So like there's a little bit more increased low end, there's a little bit more rumble and attention to those tense subby kind of frequencies there, right? There's also a tickly openness that comes into play here too.
Adds depth, dimension, right?
Depth.
It puts you in it.
Depth. Yep. Depth, glue, all those words, right? So like it really ties, for me, saturation ties things together really, really well. just the use of saturation, whether it's, something like a tape machine or console emulation or some other type of saturation. Those kind of processes in the signal chain can do some really wild, magical kind of things. So I don't know. I'm going to go with that because it sounds great. Okay, listen to the tick 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 tick. Okay, listen to that. It's more tickly. I want you to pay attention to that part. But not in a harsh way. It is slightly more hair on the back of your neck raising.
I was just gonna say a Frisian kind of thing where,
Yeah, exactly. So, before in the mix, what we did was what did we do with that? Was that the part that we turned down? Yeah. Actually, in the mix, we took this down quite a bit so that it wasn't harsh to listen to. Now we're just kind of reintroducing that same effect, but in a way that's not harsh, in a way that doesn't grate against our the sides of our faces or drill into the back of our teeth, right? So it's subtle, but very much makes, it gives you that feeling. We're leaning into that emotion, that feeling. Anyway, let's keep going here. So we've got some, we got some EQ on here. We've got some tape. I think that's great. There may be some opportunity here. I'm just going to play with it just a little bit. I don't know if we'll go with it, but
you're crazy.
I am crazy. I'm having a good time.
Right? Can't help yourself.
Music is fun. And again, this might not work, but I'm going to play with it anyway. Where the heck is it? I have so many tools. Oh my gosh. What's it called?
Suspense is it's very much on brand with attention cue, Jake. Edge of your seat kind of stuff.
You guessed it, folks.
Whoa.
Bruce. And I'm going to plug this in at the top of the channel so that this filter catches the low lows. So we're going to kind of pump up see how much we can get away with pumping up the bass even more. No real significant difference there. I'm just gonna nix it. Leave it at that. Let's do some, I think I'm gonna push this right into some limiting and then call it a day. I'm just gonna bring it up to loudness.
For those of you who don't understand the technical parts of some of this, all the fix the mixes are on that courses.mastering.com. You can go back and watch those if you'd like. It'll give you I noticed like all the regulars that I see on fix the mixes are here and they're like dialed. They're like, hey, why are you mastering on this channel and not in its own session? And I love that because you're staying on top of it. It's a little different in sync.
Yeah, the reason I master in the same session is for one for speed, two for like speed. It's it's exporting stems, right? So you're gonna push all of your stems through this through this mastering chain anyway, or like different versions of your track. And you're constantly going to be making revisions and edits and things like that if you're working with other people. And it's just faster to be able to go into the session, do that little revision, boom, print it, send it out, right? Rather than go back to the production session, make a change in the track, and then bounce all the tracks out, and then go and remix everything, and then bounce all the tracks out to a stereo file and to a new mastering session, and then master it and then send it off. Like now all of a sudden something that could have taken you 30 minutes has taken you 4 hours to do, you know,
Right.
and more, right? So it's crazy.
Which is not the normal way. Normally you'd want to have those compartmentalizations of the process, and there's good reasons for those, but sync moves at the pace where you don't always have that luxury. And if you do, then do it the right way. But if you don't, there's just a lot of pushback and feedback, a lot more than most mixing and mastering. So,
And it's also when you have those foundations already in place, then you're even more equipped to break the rules and you're in an even better position, right? Because you're just like, great, I understand exactly. It's the objectivity of it, right? You understand the moves that you're making, you know what you need to do and get it done.
Right. I'm going to turn this down while we bring this up to volume. See what we got. We're going to aim for about -9 RMS in at the loudest spot. So first thing I'm going to do is use the ozone maximizer. Try and get a little bit more out of this thing. So that peak is the peak of the low end. Right here, this spot. I'm going to gain match this plugin. We can hear how it's affecting the low end. Is it distorting the low end? Is it squashing the mix in any kind of like obvious way? Let's see. Sounds clean to me. Sounds super clean. So that got us to... Let's see if we gain match that thing. See what it got us to. About
10,
yeah.
10-ish, 10, 11 RMS.
Let's see. Let's push it a little bit higher. I'm going to use a second limiter here. Bring it up a little bit more. Okay, here we go. Ready? See how much we can get away with. Yep, I'm happy with that. Sounds good. All right, we're going to release the Unity gain monitor. See where we got to. We're going to bring the stereo out down a little bit more. There we go. Boom. Right chair.
That is -9 RMS, folks. -7 on the map meter that he was using there is in short-term LUFS, which equals about -9 RMS.
Yeah.
So we got there without distortion, and nothing sounds overbearing, which is what we really want.
Just as transparent. I'm trying to be as transparent on that side of things, on the loudness side of things as possible. Right? So that's the point. I try to push it as much as I can without artifacts, without like distortion artifacts, saturation, any kind of like pumping or squeezing or squashiness or anything like that. So it sounds nice and open. That's the point.
This is what I was
Right.
coming back to earlier. So I said everything, all the choices you make up to that moment he applied that last limiter adds up to whether that's effective or not. He got to where he wanted to go without distortion, without any sort of pumping or weird stuff, because he balanced frequencies and he balanced dynamics first. That allowed him to bring it up to that level. If he hadn't done that, if there was muddy low end or buildups in certain resonances, or some of the impacts were too heavy, or there were sub frequencies that weren't cut out or something, he would try to turn it up there and it wouldn't get there. Or even if it got there, to our ears, it would sound quieter.
You want to do an A/B real quick?
Yeah, let's do an A/B and then send it over my way, and I'll line it up with the visuals and we'll take a look what it does to the picture.
Let's see what we got here. We need to turn it up a little bit.
A little bit, but I want you to listen for something. He's turning the plugins that he just used off and on. What I want you to listen for, and I just heard it already, how flat everything sounded in the original. And even though it's not going to sound louder, say, how much more dimension and clarity there now is. You'll hear it, especially if you're on headphones.
and that's the thing. Like, if you submit both of these to somebody, they're gonna pick the one that makes the hair on their neck stand up.
Every
so glad-
time.
I'm
It's
so
just
glad your responses weren't just like, yeah, it sounds better. So many of your responses just now were how much more emotional it was, how much more
Yes.
immersive it was, how much it made the hairs on your neck stand up, how that's the difference. And that matters, right? Because that's the name of the game. That's what pays the bills, is that emotion. And if you can get 20% more emotion on a track that already sounded good.
Right.
Julia is phenomenal at what she does already.
And to take that point a step further, right? We're not even putting it to the visuals that are also helping to create and enhance that emotional connection. So already, just with audio alone, we're able to form this deeper connection, and just able to, the immersive comments that I'm seeing in here are so spot on. That's really what it is. It puts you inside of it and allows you to be a part of this story, to connect with it emotionally, creatively.
And what do we do to get there? Like, again, just like very high level stuff, right? What did we do to get there? We enhanced the things, we drew more attention to the elements that make you feel those things, that make you feel the feelings, right? We took that spotlight, like in Caleb's example, we took that spotlight and we shone it on, or shown it? Is that a word?
Shined it?
Shined it? We shined it.
Shined it.
We shined it. We shined it on the element shown it upon the element that it made sense to shown it upon.
Both shown?
Where the emotion lied.
And we also minimized distractions, right? We minimized anything that would actually pull somebody away or turn somebody off from that, or be yanked in a different direction because of harshness, or because of, some stupid resonant frequency that was drilling into the back of our skull, right?
Yeah. Right. And these subtle moves and massive, massive impact. Right. You don't have to just throw tons of stuff on every track because you think that's what it needs, and load up with some plugins, and it just doesn't need it. Right. It needs a proper approach, and it needs a proper mindset to understand why you're doing the things that you're doing. Right. Exactly what Jake is saying, walking us through what his thought process is. Why is he addressing the certain things that he is?
I noticed that you changed your name in Slack.
Totally.
I just sent it to you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
That's cool to hear. That was fun, Jake. Thank you.
Awesome, man.
The fun stuff. And this is, it's important in film like this. It's even more important when you're competing for a placement. You're usually already picked for this. Now you want to be the trusted person. That will help with that for sure. But it's even more important than when you're up against other stuff. Deshoned it. What did I do, Mr. Q? So funny. Fluid story. Exactly, Lou. Take them on a journey. You don't want the listener to have to think about stuff, the audio mistakes you made, the stuff that's distracting them. You want them to literally be elevated out of their bodies by the experience they're watching, both visually and in terms of audio, and have a completely emotional experience with the piece. That's how you inspire people. Like Dune. Yeah, Dune's incredible. Especially when you complain and the IMAX turns down the volume and you can hear everything. Your brain's tired, Linda. You guys are too good. My brain is tired.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dr. Jake, that's what they call me. Mhm.
Just wait till your brain hurts in Sync 101, Linda.
Jake, what was your session at? 48?
48.
Right, Dana? Jake is dope. We got the best.
What are your room monitors at for levels? Yeah, I don't know. That's the pro response, right? I don't know. The level at which I always mix things, which doesn't have a number, but it has a feel for me. I know what that level is when I twist the knob.
Not that loud, by the way.
Not that loud. I can have a conversation. It's conversation level. I could have a conversation with somebody sitting next to me in the studio.
Okay, give me just a minute here. We're almost there.
Can you A/B again? Sorry, Kenny. We're done with that now. You got to watch the replay. But I promise it's good. Does sync need? Great question. Does sync need to be 44.1 or 48? Do you care to address that, Rob? Sample rates?
For you know what, a lot of the times it's for film you want it to be 48.
But again, check out the FAQ page for Netflix has a different one, Hulu has a different one.
They are all different, and just that's really it. You just got to be aware. There's no hard fast rule. It's like this is how you have to do it. I have to tell you that majority of syncs that I've won, I couldn't tell you what the sample rate was.
Yeah,
I don't know.
If they're particular about so I just work in 48. And if they're particular about it, I just bounce a 44.1. But I don't think I've ever nobody's ever asked, you know.
Steven, there are special considerations for monitoring through headphones. You want to get one. There's a whole accuracy thing we work with on our students to get accurate headphones or an accurate room so they can actually train properly their ears to hear the stuff that you were able or not able to hear today. And so there are ways to get headphones that are more accurate. Like you can buy calibration files from SonarWorks, for example, calibrated headphones. Those are much better than even the general calibrations that they do with their software. Ah, nice. Lou, you got the PM3s. They're great, right? Now, Lou, if you sent those into SonarWorks and got a calibration file, you'd be literally mastering level headphones. You could master on that if you had to. Yeah, Nadim, get the Odyssey, these ones, send them into SonarWorks. I've been really considering sending these in. They're pretty close. I know them well enough to mix and master on them, but it would be fun to not have to think about it. Yeah, LCDX. Atmos, yeah, it's a whole kind of different conversation. A lot of times they'll have someone that does that, or if you can do that, that's even better. But that's getting easier to do. I know a lot of people right now are doing pro work with Atmos on headphones for big stuff instead of having to get like the $100,000 Atmos room or something. Now with Logic giving you spatial audio stuff and yeah. Yeah, Brian. Cool.
I will be right back.
If submitting to a sync library, Is the maximum or minimum number of tracks you need to be submitted? Should the musical styles be mixed or in one style? Good question, Paul. Start with your reel. Honestly, in some ways, when I made the relationship, because I didn't have any relationship to start with Sync, I made that relationship when I was ready. And then what I would do is feed them like EPs or, 5 or 10 new songs at a time. And I spread it out a little bit because what I found, you have to find how your library works. But in my library, they would kind of pay more attention to those ones as I dripped them to them. They would hear them and be like, "Oh, another release from these guys. They're great." And they would bring it up in their meeting and be like, "Hey, let's use this stuff." And it seemed like they would focus on those a little bit more. And so I just kept doing it that way so that I was always in their mind. I don't know if that works with everybody, but I always seem to be in the front of their mind because a lot of the libraries, the way it works is like they'll have a point and click front end where, like Rob was doing yesterday, you can go in and just buy stuff. But the big clients are being pitched by people on the back end. Toyota's not coming in and clicking on stuff and buying it. They have people specialized in the background for their big clients to do that, and so I was on the front of their minds, which seemed to work out for me. But you'll have to find how yours work. I would just have a decent catalog of stuff ready. When you make those relationships, you want to be ready with as much stuff as you can and ready to work, because when they give you the chance and the opportunity, you want to just be totally ready for it. You having a catalog is good. Thanks, Jedediah.
I'm back. Don't worry, guys. I'm back.
I
I'm
don't
back.
I don't have any personal experience with the VSX headphones. I think some students have
Yeah.
do those try to do calibration for you?
I don't know if they have EQ compensation. I know they switch rooms. It's room modeling.
They're calibrated already.
I don't know.
How do they do that though?
I
Like,
would assume.
no speakers is perfect. Like every headphone tries to be calibrated already, but they're not. Why didn't they just make a totally flat headphone? They don't exist for some
All
reason.
right.
They might come calibrated because the the idea is that they model the different rooms. So I would hope that they would start from a flat point to then apply the EQ curve of the environment. You know what I mean?
If they are, then cool.
Oh, that's cool. So John says you'd have to enter the serial number because they're made in batches, and then you get a calibration file. Per batch calibration file.
I've seen batches be pretty different than each other though.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know. I don't have enough experience. I'm just thinking first principles on that stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready to take a look?
Yeah, let's do it. It's cool.
So
I haven't seen this yet.
Before we bring in the dialogue and the room noise, I just want to watch just visuals with the different mixes, and I level matched it as best I could here. So we're pretty close, but just really pay attention. Again, the word that keeps jumping out for me is immersive and really detailed and enveloping, right? Engaging. So just looking at the difference of the visuals as we A/B, and again, just a warning for people: the visuals that Julie was nice enough to bring, they're very intense visuals. There's fight scenes, there's violence. So just kind of giving you that fair warning that it is a very intense visual subject. So if you don't want to partake in watching the visuals, totally understand, and just listen and feel the difference. But let's take a look. So this is the unmixed and master track playing here first. Okay, let's watch what happens when we bring in the mixed version. I got chills. Back to the unmixed. Really want to watch that part with the vocals with the mixed version again. So let's bring in the mixed.
Oh,
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah. Back to the unmixed. Mixed. Ooh. All right, let's listen to that swell with the unmixed version. Very cool, right? But notice the difference one more time. Ooh, it pulls you in. All right, let's get to some action. Start with the unmixed. Drop into the mixed. Do you feel the way it gives everything else a chance to breathe, literally breathe? Like the breath sounds, everything feels like it's kind of wrapping around it, giving it this hug. Not that this is a huggy kind of scene, but it just creates this space. And like we talked about on day one and day two, the atmosphere. Julia talked about setting the atmosphere, setting the tone of the scene, right? Caleb and I spoke about it yesterday, setting the tone. And now with a proper mix and master on it, seeing it elevate and really feeling like you're immersed in that. I just think it's awesome. I love this stuff. Do you want to, should I put in the
Sure.
dialogue?
Not so loud as we had at day one.
Right. Yeah. No. I'm going to mix it down. All right, let's check it out. I'm going to start with the mixed cue.
Looks like Kristen Stewart.
Hey. You should eat. You'll need your energy for when the boss arrives. Bro, you okay?
Jump to the unmixed. All right, feel what that bass does. Back to the mixed version.
You're pretty
Right, like Jake was talking about, create more depth, more tension.
Yeah, we could turn up the master a little bit, Rob, just on everything.
I could just put you out of your misery. Rick?
All right, let's go to the unmixed. Back to the mix. Right? The difference is incredible. You feel it inside. It's and it's even more impactful with the VO and the sound effects in there. Right? You might think like, oh, well, if it's piling everything on top of it, it's just going to kind of confuse it. And no, the mix, the proper mix and proper master allow for the space and allow for the interaction of all of these different pieces so that the emotion can drive through. And the sound design and the VO are helping to add to that emotional impact, right? It's a part of the complete whole. So when every piece is at its best, that's when you get the best creative impact. That's when you get the most out of your project, right? And that's how everybody wins. I love watching this stuff. It's so physically exciting to me, and it just has this impact that you're just like, oh my gosh. And we joke around talking about, oh, we've ruined how you watched movies. I think a part of it is when you listen to it like this, you have a greater appreciation for it, and when it's done right, I find it even more engaging. So
yeah, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, to me, this is like pulling me in, and some people are asking, oh, are we going to mix surround sound? We're doing this in stereo, and I feel like I am in it.
Yeah.
In it. Right? Jake, awesome, man. So cool. And I just love watching this come to life. And for me, the visuals pop, the feeling is just so much more enhanced and colorful and dynamic. It's just awesome.
This is why Jake has 1,500 placements. Because he's
Right?
good at what he does and he makes it sound great. It matters. It matters. So regardless of whether you move forward with us or you continue learning on your own or whatever you do, I hope you feel more confident with some of this that we've talked about over the next 3 days, that you could navigate this a little bit better, or at least focus on the right things, focus on the creative part, focus on emotion, getting that ready, speeding your process up, get all that ready. And when you have that, the rest of it isn't that hard. Then it's just the right people at the right time with the right communications and networking. And then the rest falls into a place. So I appreciate, Rob, all your wisdom. Jake, thanks for hopping on today, doing mix and master. You're a consummate pro. Before we hop off, does anyone have any last questions about Sync 101 or questions for us about what you've learned today? How can we help you as we sign off here today?
Jamie, we'll talk about some good tools to use in the course for sure. But there's no hard and fast rule that's like, oh, this is the VST that you need. I'd encourage you to think about focusing on what you connect with, what you do best, and what are the best ways to create that emotional connection.
Is that a really of TRE and Sync Collective? I can tell you it's worth every penny for sure.
Do you bypass the limiter when you export like stems and alternate mixes and stuff like that? I don't.
And I do, so it doesn't matter.
That is correct.
Syllabus for Sync 101. I don't have the full breakdown on a slide today. I apologize, but it's in depth on, again, the mindset, the process, how to reach out to who to reach out, and mostly focusing on getting the creativity, emotion right, mix and master. And then again, all that other stuff. I mean, we'll give you a list of places to reach out to. You can have the list. It's just really not about that. You can get those lists anywhere. It's more about being ready. So we're going to focus on the stuff that will really help you.
Someone was asking about metadata. We cover some of that.
Of course, except orchestral music for sure.
Any and all music, it all has a place, from orchestral to polka to metal to EDM. It's all about the emotion and the use.
Alex, that's right. For TRE, that's the cost for the full thing, but it also includes production, not just mix and master. It's all three and how they work together. It's a whole thing.
Jackie, yeah, that's part of the mentorship, giving feedback on the music. If you guys were here yesterday watching the feedback session, and you can check out the additional feedback on the courses page, that's what we'll be doing one-on-one. A lot of it is listening to tracks together, talking about what we did great, what we can improve on, what's connecting, what's missing, and how do we fix it.
The Sync 101 is really tailored for beginners and intermediates. I think both will get stuff out of it because it's heavily mentor based. So you can kind of be where you're at with stuff.
Yeah, relevancy is through the roof.
Yeah. And there's no bad questions, right? And people who are intermediate at this can benefit from hearing the questions and hearing the feedback and the dialogue with folks who are beginners, and vice versa. It's one thing about all the mastering.com communities and the cohorts there. Everybody, there's an element of camaraderie and support that's just unparalleled, because it needs to be a safe space. It needs to be a place where we're unencumbered to share and talk and be vulnerable and ask questions and learn. And that's really what we're about.
Come in humble and hungry. That's all we ask. Sync 101 cutoff is next Friday, Kenny. And then that starts the following Monday. So Friday the 10th is the final day to sign up. And then the cohort starts on the 13th. Do any of you need a link again? One in chat if you need the link again by chance, or are you guys good? Okay, let me just plop it on the screen real
Am
quick.
I okay to send music that I have already posted on Apple, like Spotify? Or
As
should
long
it be original new tracks?
Yeah, like we talked about yesterday, all of your music is viable. It doesn't matter if it's released already, right? As long as you control the rights, you're able to use it for sync. It's about the emotion. It's about the connection. So just because you released something, or, maybe it's been sitting around for 10 years, doesn't mean that it's not viable.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've had stuff from my past totally work for a specific situation. You should gather
For sure.
and organize it and metadata it, and all the stuff we'll teach you to do. The organization don't skip over that part of what Rob talked about today. Organization is such a huge part of it, and being ready. It's just part of being ready.
And we threw a lot at you today, so definitely don't be shy going and watching those replays and jotting them down, spending some time with it.
Just try to avoid the super technical stuff, because that is really kind of confusing and in the weeds, but none of that really matters till you're ready. And then once you are ready, I think you'll also know your direction, which is what Rob talked about today. And once you know your direction, then the industry doesn't seem so complicated, because you have a clear kind of path.
Yep. And any of those technical questions, again, being that it's so mentor focused, we can discuss all of that. So bring any and all questions. We talk about them all.
Any last questions? Yeah, mastering.com/sync101 to sign up. I don't remember a Spitfire code. If you need the PayPal link, dropping it in the chat right now. That's just if you want to pay through PayPal, I guess it's separate. Mastering 30, is that the I don't remember. Free shrugs are included. Yes, 6 weeks.
Maybe.
and you get access to the curriculum ongoing. So we continue on. All right. Thanks y'all so much. Appreciate you, especially those of you who made it to the very end. I mean, if you made it to the beginning of today, that's pretty good. The real glutton
Glut
gang
gang.
here in the end, hanging out. Watch our emails for more events that are coming up. We're going to do more stuff next month. We're going to do another Production 101, I believe, next month, potentially. And Fix the Mix. So watch for that. And stay in touch. For those of you who will see on the inside, see you in about a week. For the rest of you, keep coming back, keep learning, keep having fun.
Excited to work with you. Yep, we have assignments in 101.
Yeah. It is like school, except for more fun. On behalf of everyone at mastering.com, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Jake, Rob, thanks so much again to all of you. Have a great rest of the week and a great weekend. We'll see y'all soon. Have a good one.